Are we live? Hello? Am I muted?
No, we're not.
No, we're not live. Really? Oh, man. No, I took off the pre-roll ads and I still saw that we got hit by ads anyway. So, I don't know.
Huh,
That is
weird.
weird. I thought so too. So we're here a little earlier because we thought we should go ahead and just get this going, right? Get this game going. So we left off. So I saved, unfortunately. We didn't get far. I think we only read a paragraph and then it broke. Or I kept having issues what was it, the internet? Thank you.
Thank you.
What was it? The internet? Something. What was it? Oh, sorry. I got sick. I was gone for a week and I can't remember what we did last. So what was the problem again? It was the internet. It was just the internet? Yeah, but it's all fixed now. I shouldn't have any of that problem. I'm sure it'll be a new problem eventually, but we'll get there when we get there. All right. Hopefully you can hear the game, right? Is there even any sound right now? Might not.
Yeah, I can hear
You can hear the game? All right. So we're left off. We heard a noise, correct? We were in this well right now, and we heard a noise from the outside, right? Is that where we were at?
I'm trying to remember.
Something like that. So I think this is still the guy.
Okay. Understanding comes like a sudden blow. This isn't the bottom of the sea. And that circle of light isn't the moon. It's the mouth of a well. The sun is already risen and someone is up right outside with a car. Last piece falls into place, and he becomes Tonokoji once more. Help! Oh, shouts Koji, surprised by how easily his voice emerges. His desperation blocks out the pain of his raw throat. Hey, I'm down here, in the well. Help me! He keeps screaming with all his might. Soon, the echoes in the cramped well become deafening, and he is no longer certain if his screams have meaning, or if he's just howling wordlessly. Nevertheless, he continues. His only desire is to be heard, lest he die forgotten at the bottom of this well. Koji's blade is not long, but even a minute feels like an eternity on the edge of despair. Soon, the circle of light above him is partially eclipsed by the silhouette of a person staring down into the well.
Who could it be?
Who could it be?
Who's that?
Tono, you alive down there?
I think that's me.
It probably
Tono,
is.
you alive down there? Oh, yeah.
A woman's voice. Koji has heard it somewhere before, but for some reason cannot remember to whom it belongs.
Just hold on. I'll get you out.
Silhouette vanishes, restoring the light to a perfect circle. Fear of being left alone again threatens to send Koji into a panic, but his reason is recovered enough to resist. She said she's gonna get me out? I haven't been abandoned.
You're very lucky, Koji.
While waiting, he gingerly tests his body, which he had forgotten all about until now. His joints ache, and his fingers and toes are numb. but though exhausted, he's still in one piece. After some time, the silhouette reappears at the top of the well.
Are you are you hurt? Can you climb a rope on your own? Well, his fingers are numb.
No, I don't think so. Koji lacks the confidence to attempt such a feat. His frozen fingers can barely move.
Hmm. Oh, well. Well, I'm coming down.
After a brief pause, the owner of the voice tosses a knotted climbing rope into the well. He grabs the rope as soon as it reaches him. The rough threads bite into his palm, and relief nearly overwhelms him at the sensation. This is really happening. He's really safe. Now that he's free from despair, questions leap to the forefront of his mind. First among them, who is his savior? The rope shakes as the woman climbs carefully down. The beam from the floodlight slung over her shoulders, pushing back the shadow cast by her body. Soon, she is standing in the same mud as Koji, and he finds himself face to face with his mother.
Sensei!
Doctor!
It is I.
It's the nurse!
Were you expecting someone else?
Koji indeed had not imagined the savior would turn out to be Dr. Tonba Ryoko. Of course. It took him a moment to recognize her. Instead of a white gown and tight skirt, she was wearing a heavy leather coat, denim jeans, and boots with no heel. She must have expected a hike through the mountains. Her light is a blocky all-purpose type, featuring side-mountain fluorescent runners in addition to the main floodlight, survival gear, and professional grade by the look of it.
Ooh. You look awful.
Dr. Tonbo says wryly as she gives Koji a once-over.
Here, drink this.
She pulls a flask out of her pocket and hands it to him.
Go slow. Take small sips. It should help a little.
Thank you. She walks around with a flask.
Judgy.
Maybe Koji's just old-fashioned, but it doesn't seem appropriate for a young woman and a doctor at that.
Judgy.
Nevertheless, he unscrews the cap and takes a swig, and struggles to keep from coughing as the potent liquid sears his tongue. What's this?
Spiritus vodka. Good for disinfecting wounds in a pinch, and also does a fine job of setting things on fire.
Her tone is straightforward and quite serious. Koji can only gape at the doctor, the dark smile on her face doing little to ease his Is this really Dr. Tombo?
Does Dr. Tombo have a drinking problem?
There's no trace of the bookish, mild-mannered woman Koji met at the hospital. Her expression is now set in a hard mask, and her eyes are sharp and wary. The darkness at the bottom of the well, it is possible, however unlikely, that the change in her features is due to the ominous shadows cast by her lamp. It's not easy, however, to explain the change in her demeanor.
I think the question you should be asking is, thank God you are here. How did you find me? I guess. You called me, didn't you?
Ryoko replies briskly, glaring at Koji, like an annoyed professor.
Duh.
行方不明者を探してる二人組が
I tried calling back,
妙な
but you
留守電
didn't
の後に
answer.
揃いも
Neither
揃っ
did
て
your
音信
friend
不通になったりしたら
Tsukuba.
何
Am
か
I
あった
supposed
と
to
思
think
う
of
のが普通だ
everything's
ろ
fine?
は
No, but Koji still doesn't understand why she acted so quickly. But it's a different part of what she just said seizes his attention.
じゃあ筑波は筑波陽にも連絡を
What? Tsukuba? You called her too?
Sounds like they're saying scuba on the actual scuba.
したよ君と一緒で繋がらない
Like I
正直な
said,
ところ
she didn't pick up
私はて
either.
っきり君も死体になってるもんだと思ってたんだがね
To be honest, I figured you were both dead already. No faith.
That's right. He almost died. At the hands of the man he thought was his best friend.
Mm-mm.
Anger and frustration well up inside him. He can't forgive Fuminori's betrayal, nor can he forgive himself for his foolishness. Now he has no idea if Tsukuba is safe. Fuminori tried to kill Koji. Could he have done it the same to her?
Maybe.
まあ落ち着けここで君がいくら先立
Calm
ってみた
down.
ところで始まらん
Why don't you? There's nothing you can do from here.
何かあったと思ったのなら警察には届けてくれたんですか
If you thought something was wrong, Koji says to her back, then you must have called the police, right?
警察だと
The police?
Still engrossed in her examination of the walls, Roko laughs scornfully at the idea.
そうか君はまだそういう形で蹴りがつけら
So
れる
you
ものだ
still
と思ってい
think
る
that's the
わけ
way out, do you?
どういう意味です
What's that supposed to mean? Annoyed by her condescending attitude, Koji is about to demand answers when she cuts him off with a gesture and shines her light at the corner of the well.
トノー君
You
こいつには
didn't
気づかなかったのか
notice this?
は
Huh? In the light of the lamp, Koji sees that some stones are a different shade than the rest of the wall. This must be what Ryoko is looking for.
気づきませんでした
Huh? No, there wasn't enough light,
Does it look like I have a flashlight?
right?
ふん
Mm-hmm.
Ryoko's gaze moves slowly along the wall, finally coming to rest on a gap between the two of the stones. The hole is just wide enough for an adult to reach into open-handed.
君いいところに落ちてくれたよひょうたんから
You
困った
You
や
sure
つ
picked
か
the right the right well to fall down.
Ryoko says with a grim smile.
Like they say, it's always the last place you look.
She wastes no time thrusting her hand into the opening. After she feels around for a few seconds, Koji hears the thunk of something solid coming from behind the wall.
先生
Doctor? Ryoko pulls her hand out and gives the different colored stones a gentle push with the rumble of weight shifting. The stones slide smoothly back into the wall.
こういう仕掛けか
So that's how he fooled me.
前に来た時は気づきもしなかった
I had no idea this was here the last time I came.
前にも来た
You've been here before? Koji wants answers, but Ryoko ignores him and peers into the opening. Beam of her floodlight, Koji can see a concrete tunnel leading into the mountain.
私は先に進む
I'm going on
トノー
ahead.
君
You better
君
stay
はここに
here.
残ることを勧める
Her warning is utterly devoid of warmth. Considering his options, Koji looks from the tunnel to the rope and back again. He's practically sweating now, thanks to the 190 proof vodka he just drank. But although feeling has returned to his fingers, he still doesn't have the strength to climb.
190? This might be a stupid
Right.
question, but what's like Everclear? I have no idea. Top of my head.
Do I look like an alcoholic?
Holy crap.
Here, let's see. Everclear. 190 proof.
Is it actually 190?
I think so.
Praying for Saya. Me too.
Huh. Yeah, no,
It is?
That's what it
It
basically
is basically Everclear? Interesting.
All of them are.
It's just straight alcohol.
Potato Slayer says, I'm praying. for
Yeah, that's what I
Saya."
said. I'm praying for Saya too.
I missed it. I must have missed that.
Right here.
That said, the thought of being alone in the well again makes him shiver.
一緒に行きます連れてってください
I'll go too. Please take me with you.
まあ好きにしろ
Have it your way.
Sorry, hang on. Sorry. Roko steps into the tunnel without looking back, and Koji doesn't hesitate to follow.
前にお会いした時と随分雰囲気が違いますね
You're pretty different from the last time we met, Koji says sarcastically, following Roko as she moves cautiously down the tunnel with her light leading the way.
ここは病院じゃない君は患者じゃない営業スマイルが必要か
This isn't the hospital, and you're not my patient. This service doesn't come with a smile. Oh,
じゃあ
excuse me.
こっちが先生の字ですか
So, this is who you really are.
さあどうだかな
I wonder,
どうだっていいことだろ
does it matter?
Ryoko suddenly stops and stares at the floor. When Koji looks over her shoulder, he sees a dust-covered rope lying coiled up in the middle of the path.
何です
What is it?
あの井戸から降りてきたやつの小細
It's something left by the last guy who came down the well.
Ryoko picks up the rope, examines it, and hands it to Koji.
長さは私が使ったロープのほぼ2倍途中に結び目があっ
It's
て
about twice as long as
足場
my
両方
rope.
とも切
It
断
has
さ
a
れて
knot in it, and both
この
ends have
両
been
端が
severed.
繋がって輪になってた
They
は
were
ず
connected before to make a circle.
Oh. Huh?
外のどこかにこの
You
輪を引っ
loop one
掛け
end of
て
the circle
井戸の底まで
around
伝って
something
降りる
topside, then use the rest to climb down the well.
その後ナイフで輪を切って井戸の
When
中に
you're
引っ
at the
張り込め
bottom,
ば
you cut the circle open
井戸の底に
and
降り
pull
た
the
痕跡
whole
が
rope
残る
in with you. That way, there's nothing to show where you went. Smart. Very smart.
Ryoko shines her light out the tunnel, revealing that it ends in a closed wooden door about 10 meters ahead.
こうやってここに逃げ込んだや
That's
つ
how
は
you avoided
追っ手の目
detection.
をくらませたのさ
Really got me good.
先生さっき前にも来たっていう
You said you've been here before.
ああ
Yeah,
君や咲坂君だけじゃ
you
ない
and Sakisaka aren't the only ones.
王外を追ってこの別荘に来た
Ryoko says dryly.
I checked Ogai's cabin a while back.
As Ryoko speaks, she opens her coat and pulls out what she had hanging underneath.
他に出口がないと
If
して
there aren't any other
や
exits,
つはまだ
then
あ
he's
の
still
扉
behind
の
that
向こう側に
door.
いるわけだ
At first, Koji thinks she's holding a steel pipe. Amazed that she would be carrying a weapon, Koji looks closer and is appalled when he realizes what it really is. A gun.
Mm.
Not one of those sleek handguns that he's seen in the movies, but a double-barreled shotgun. Stock and barrels have been sawed down for easier concealment, enhancing its aura of brutal efficiency.
That's illegal. Right? Yeah. Isn't it? Sawed-off shotguns? You can't do that? I don't know. I think it's pretty much in Japan, they're all, like, it's all kind of bad
Yeah.
either way.
What is that?
ショットガン
A 12 gauge.
12番口径
Ryoko replies blandly, as though naming a brand of cigarettes.
私にはこいつを
I don't have a
持ち歩く資格
permit,
なんて
and
ないし
cutting it down would be
こんな
illegal
風に改
even
造
if I
するのは
did.
銃刀法違反だ
Any other questions?
他に質問は
No,
No.
just don't shoot.
そんなもの持ち出して一体どうするつもり
What
で
are
す
you planning to do with that?
Shoot it. Look,
Use it?
I don't know.
Ryoko looks over her shoulder and gives Koji the most chilling smile yet.
オーガイの正体を初めて
When I first learned what Ogai was
私は
doing,
ただの
I was a
善良な
model
人間
citizen.
だった
Never even gotten a
交
ticket.
通違反すら無縁のね
Woman whom Koji believed was just a normal doctor waves her sawed-off shotgun menacingly as she continues, her tone sharp and bitter.
あの時にこいつがあったなら
If I had had
私は
this
多
back
分オーガイ
then,
をきっちり殺せていた
I could have killed Ogai before he got away.
そうなってれば
Maybe
も
then
しか
none
した
of
ら
this
君
would
た
have
ちがこん
happened.
な災難に
I
巻き
feel
込まれ
bad
るこ
about
とも
that.
なかったかもしれない
Really.
Oh.
I interrupted. Sorry.
Koji listens in silence, helpless to do anything but watch as understanding moves farther and farther from his grasp.
だからこれから私
In
がやる
other
ことは
words,
一切合切
everything I
君
do
と
from
その
here
友
on
達が
out
足を突っ込んで
is
る
to
泥
clean
沼
up
のあ
this
りさま
mess
を終わら
that
せて
you
や
and
る
your
ための
friends
手
have
続き
stepped in.
Ooh.
その辺をよく理解して
Remember
余計な口を突
that,
っ込まない
and
こと
don't ask any unnecessary
Yeah.
questions. Got it? Yes, ma'am.
Koji can only nod weakly in response. With the light in her hand, in her left hand, and the shotgun in her right, Ryoko walks up to the door and takes a deep breath. Then she kicks the door open, putting her full weight behind the blow. With a disappointingly feeble sound, the door breaks off the hinges and falls into the room. Dust billows like white smoke in the beam of Ryoko's light. This room is large, at least 35 meters square. The tiled floor is set with drainage grates. There's no mistaking the operating table sitting in the middle of the room. Cabinets full of enamelware and drugs line one side of the space, and against the opposite wall stand writing desks and bookshelves. Those things Koji recognizes. The mysterious objects cluttering the tables and shelves, however, are beyond his comprehension. Mirrors delicately engraved with complex patterns, grotesque statues and masks that must have been left by a race of savages, tapestries woven in nauseating arrays of color, a crystal ball the size of an infant's head. Any would fetch a hefty price at an antique store, if not for the one thing they have in common. Every last piece is so loathsome and foul that Koji feels sick just looking at it. It's as though each was designed for the sole sinister purpose of immortalizing its creator's hatred of the world. Rare-looking books of the sort that he found in Ogai's home are piled here and there. On one shelf are stacked some scrolls that look to be made of some kind of sheepskin or papyrus, whatever it is. It's not paper.
Papyrus.
Finally, there are incomprehensible chalk patterns and symbols filling every available space on the wall. Even the two sliding blackboards are covered in strange, unreadable scribblings. Just looking at them is making Koji dizzy.
見るんじゃない
Don't look.
Ryoko snaps at him.
いいかここから動くの絶対に何かに触っ
Listen,
たりするな
don't move, and
目を
whatever
つくよ
you
うなもの
do,
があっても
don't
見
touch
つめたりしちゃいけ
anything.
ない
Even if something draws your attention, don't look at it. Close your eyes, just. Ugh.
まずいと思ったらすぐ
If
に
you
目を
see
そらし
something that
自
feels
分の靴を見
wrong,
ろ
stare at your
Baka.
shoes. Got it? Hello, Taco.
はあ
Yeah. Ryoko switches her light's fluorescent runners on and sets it on the nearby table where it can illuminate the whole room. She then holsters her shotgun, only to pull out an even more confusing set of tools: a digital camera and a can of spray paint. She gives the can in her left hand a good shake, switches the camera in her right on. Oh my god, I'm sorry, I can't read.
Hunt.
And
That's-
steps up to the blackboard while looking at the camera's side-mounted screen. After recording one set of symbols, she covers it with a thick layer of paint and moves on to the
Do you want me to
next.
be the narrator for a bit?
あの先生
It's fine. I'm just having a hard time reading.
Yeah, it is kind of weird up there.
Doctor?
レッスン
Lesson 1.
1妙な図形やラテン語
Never
の
look
文
at
章
strange
とかは
symbols
絶対に
or
読
read
む
anything written in unusual languages like Latin. Oh, never.
機械の目で記録
Use
し
a
ておいて
camera to record them for
後で注
later,
意深く調
then
べる
paint over the original.
現物はその場で塗りつぶすか何かして破壊しろ
Now that she mentions it, Koji realizes that she's only looking at the screen of her camera. Even then, only in short glimpses and never directly at any of the drawings. He understands what she's saying, but it still doesn't make any sense.
That's true, I kind of agree with them.
一体どういう
Why do you have to...
ここまで深
Now
入りした
you've
んな
come
ら
this
工学
far,
のために
you
黙って
better
聞いて
shut
お
up
け
and listen for your own good.
あと水晶球とか化学
Things
の
like
他人
crystal
も危ない
balls and mirrors are dangerous.
下手に壊すと破片に
Anything
なった
can
りす
happen
る
if
か
you
ら
break them, so it's
とりあ
best
え
to
ず
cover
布で
them
も
with
か
a
ぶせる
cloth
か
or
ペンキを
paint
浴びせ
over
て封
them
印
for the
しろ
time being.
Koji begins to fear that this doctor might be even crazier than Kuminori.
Is that possible?
Despite the burst of energy he received from the vodka, Koji is still exhausted from his night in the well. The fear is affecting his body, making him dizzy and nauseous. Soon, the walls are covered in black paint, and the stale air is thick with the smell of turpentine.
とりあえず
That
こ
should
んな
do it
と
for
こ
now.
Ryoko says with relief, then tosses the empty can aside and puts away her video camera.
オーガイって人はどうなったんです
What happened to Ogai? Koji asks, supporting himself against a nearby table.
Hmm.
ああそこにいたよ
Oh, he was over there.
Without stopping her examination of the papers on the writing table, Ryoko points nonchalantly to a Chinese-style screen standing in one corner of the room. He was there? Her clinical choice of tense makes her meaning instantly obvious. The urge to see for himself is irresistible. Koji staggers across the room to the screen, taking the utmost care not to look at the scaly octopus thing that's painted on it. Behind the screen is a large easy chair. Although he's never met the man before, Koji is fairly certain that the person sitting in it is Ogai Masahiko.
Ugh.
Ogai's corpse must have shrunk significantly while drying in the sealed chamber. The body is barely the size of a child, with only the business suit hanging from the bones, offering any hint of Ogai's former stature.
Hey guys. Ugh.
His empty eye sockets and wide open jaw are filled with darkness, the same darkness that surrounds Koji at the bottom of the well. That surrounded Koji at the bottom of the well. Compared to those gaping voids, the tiny hole in Ogai's right temple is almost demure.
Oh my god.
So demure.
I can't escape that word. I still don't understand what it means.
We're gonna have to do meme review.
Oh gosh.
The revolver that he presumably used to kill himself is still clenched in the hand, dangling in his dangling right hand. It looks like a child's toy compared to Ryoko's shotgun. Ryoko must have noticed Ogai's corpse while she was spray painting the walls. She kept working without batting an eyelash. Impressive, though not exactly surprising after what he's been through.
Oh.
It's getting difficult to remember the last time he spoke to
I
someone
have to
sane.
do this for you, Luth. There you go. My bad. So you can see the chat better.
Here.
Okay. Oh, very mindful.
Very
Oh, thank you.
very demure.
Oh, very demure.
But if not for her, Koji reminds himself, with a bitter smirk, he would have ended up joining this mummified corpse here, and no one would have ever found it.
Nope.
Koji's vision suddenly bends. Uh-oh. He's pushed himself too hard, and the spiritus vodka can't help him anymore.
I was about to say, like, he only had like a sip. Lightweight.
He collapses to the floor, unable to hang his... I'm sorry, let me restart.
Okay.
He pushes himself too hard, and the spiritus vodka can't help him anymore. He collapses to the floor, unable to hang on to his slipping consciousness. And then the last thing he sees are Ogai Masahiko's gaping eye sockets staring at
Like
him.
this. Hey. Oh, he's gone.
When he wakes, Koji finds himself lying on something dry and soft. A bed. Is a bed? He thinks to himself. What?
A bed is a bed.
A bed is a bed, he thinks to himself. Even one that smells of mold and dust.
Mm.
And especially after sleeping in the cold mud all night. I cannot read
Do you want
today.
me to take over? I always ask. But you're a trooper.
There are no lights hanging from the ceiling, but the soft, warm light of a lamp fills the room.
Hmm.
Simple furnishings, non-existent decor. Koji realizes that he's in Ogai's cabin in the bedroom that he searched before Fuminori pushed him into the well.
お目覚めかい
That looks yummy. You awake?
Ryoko is sitting in a chair against the wall, her expression blank as she studies a pile of documents on the table in front of her. She must have brought them up from Ogai's underground lab. She turns the page and takes a bite from the sandwich in her free hand. Sandwich?
Sandwich?
食べる元気があるようならそこに
If you feel up to eating, there's food over there. I made you a sandwich.
Without looking up from the files, she gestures towards the convenience store bag sitting on the nightstand.
Oh, it's konbini sandwich.
俺
Ooh.
をどうやってここに
Ugh, how did I get here?
That was very convincing because he just woke up from the bed. That was good acting.
That wasn't acting. Koji can't imagine that a woman, even a woman like Ryoko, could have climbed out the well with him on her back.
No faith.
あの地下室本棚の
There's a
上に
door
赤い
behind one of the
扉があって
bookshelves down there.
Ryoko mutters, taking care not to let the explanation interfere with her eating.
Yeah, shut up. I'm eating and reading.
苦労して破ってみたら
When I
別荘
finally
の
got
ボイ
it
ラー室
open,
に出た
it led to the boiler room
反
underneath
対
the
側は
cabin.
薄くモルタルを塗って隠して
The
あったん
other
だ
side was hidden with a thin layer of mortar.
隠し部屋に機材を運び
I
込んで
figured
か
that's
ら
how
ドア
he
を
got
塞い
most of
で
his supplies down there.
その後は井戸
Once he
か
had
ら出
everything
入
he
りして
needed,
た
he could seal it
んだ
up
周到なもんだ
and use the well instead. Pretty thorough. Yes.
そこまでして隠さなきゃならないものがあの部屋にあったんですか
Is there really something in there that he needed to hide?
昔はねそれに
There used to
さっき
be.
までも
This is the last of it.
Having finished her sandwich, Ryoko picks up some unsorted papers with her free hand and waves them in the air.
世界中の研究者が
Not all scholars
誰
want
も
to get
かも
on
学会
stage
で
at
演
a
壇に登ってリサイタルをやりたがるわけじゃないのさ
and show their research to the world, you know. Some nutcases get their kicks by learning secrets no one knows, and by being buried with those secrets in hidden tombs that no one will ever
そう
find.
いう変態野郎もいるんだよ。
Koji still hasn't the slightest idea what Ogai's secret might have been. From what Ryoko has said in the tunnel, however, he can guess that Fuminori is somehow involved.
文則はどうなっちまったんですか？
What happened to Fuminori? Koji asks desperately, no longer caring who he gets the answers from.
地下の死体と文則と一体どういう関係があるんで
What
す？
does he do with that
先
body
生は
now?
一体何を追いかけてるんですか？
What does he have to do with that
Ooh.
body now? Just, what are you after?
今それを調べてるところだよ。
That's what I'm trying to find out.
Ryoko replies coldly, as though Koji's concerns are none of hers.
私が咲坂君から聞いたところに
Sakisaka
よる
told
と、
me that he was acting on
彼は
behalf
オーガイの親族から
of
調
one of
査を頼
Ogai's
まれている
relatives.
という話だった。
ええ、それは俺も聞いてます。
Yeah, he told me the same thing.
うん、そうか、一貫してるんだ。
Oh? Well, at least that's consistent.
Ryoko pulls several sheets of loose-leaf paper from a different file.
だがオーガイに血
The
縁者
truth
はいない
is that Ogai has no relatives.
私は咲坂君が嘘を
I
つ
thought
い
that
ているものと
Sakisaka
ばかり
was
思って
simply
いた。
lying.
だが、
However,
もう一つの可能性
there
を
was
考える
another
べきだ。
possibility I should have considered.
彼
He
は
might have
オーガイ
been
の親
tricked
族
by
を
someone
名乗る何者
claiming
かに
to be
そそのかされ
Ogai's
ていたのかも
family.
しれない。
Ooh.
Mm.
Ooh.
Ryoko pauses, then looks sidelong at Koji.
サヤという名前に心当たりは
As
Does the name... Wait, it's me. Does the name Saya ring a bell?
さや？
Seiya?
いいえ、
No.
誰
Who
なんで
is
す
that?
さて誰なのか何なの
Who
か
or what is the question.
読めば
But
読
the
むほ
more I
どわから
read,
なくなっていく。
the less I understand.
She sighs bitterly, then returns her attention to the papers in her hand.
間違いなく言えるの
All
は
I can say for sure
そいつが
is that it
オーガイの
appears
研
to
究
have been
の
the
核にある
focus
もの
of
らしい
Ogai's
というこ
research.
とだけだ。もし咲坂君が
If
このサヤと
Sakisaka is
呼ばれる
involved
もの
with
とすで
whatever
に深く関わっ
Saya
ているのなら
is, then he's
彼は
already
もう
past the point
引
of
き
no
返せない
return.
ところまで踏み込んでいるということになる。
The icy certainty in Ryoko's words send a chill down Koji's spine.
だとしたらどうするつもりなんです？
If so, then what will you do? He has to ask, even though he already knows the answer.
さっきも言ったよね。
It's like I said.
1年前の私も
Ryoko
手元に
replies,
銃を持ってれ
smirking
ば
at
っ
the
て
tension in Koji's
どれだ
voice.
け後悔
I
した
have
か
no
知れない
idea how many times I've wished I'd killed Ogai when I had the chance.
もう二度と後
I
悔
won't
す
make
る
the
つも
same
りはない
mistake twice.
You go, girl.
俺が警察に行けば済むことです。
If I go to the police, it'll all be over.
Ry-
Ryoko doesn't respond, as though... Wait, Ryoko doesn't respond, as though she didn't hear what Koji had just said.
文則がやったことは殺人未遂です。
Fuminori tried to kill me,
あいつは犯
Koji
罪者として
conceded news persistently. If I report him, he'll be arrested and...
目撃者は物証は
Ryoko cuts him off harshly.
I was just about to say, you have no proof. You have witnesses? Proof? What was Sakisaka's motive? Yeah, exactly.
なあ、トノ君。
Yeah.
君は警
You
察
know,
の仕事
Tono,
についてひどく勘違いして
You're completely misunderstanding what the police do.
彼らの職分は正
Their
義を
job
貫
isn't
く
to
ことで
fight
も
for justice,
市民の
or
安全を
even to
守
keep
ること
people
でもな
safe.
い。
そんな。
What are you saying?
不条理な物事について
Finding
きちんと
reasonable
条例に沿った
explanations
体
for
裁を
unreasonable
整える。
events. That's what the police
こ
are
れが
for.
警察っていう役所の仕事だ。 彼らの思考はいつだって
They will
よ
always
り
choose
理
to
解しや
believe
すい
the
方
simplest, most
より
logical
説明しやすい
explanation,
方に傾いていくそれこそ
just like
水
how
は低い
water
方へ低い
always
方へ
flows
と流れてい
downhill.
くように事実がどうあろう
They
と
aren't
彼ら
interested
に
in
は
the
興味
truth.
ない
They don't know or
彼ら
care
が感知すると
that
こ
the
ろでは
truth
ないん
is
だよ
often stranger than
小
fiction.
説より奇なる事実なんてものは
そこまで決めつけることないでしょう。話してみなければわかりませんよ。
Oh my gosh, I'm sorry. It can't all be like that. I won't know until I try.
そうわからない
Exactly.
そこが問題だ
Ryoko stares as she pulls another sandwich out of the bag.
That's the problem.
She hasn't spared Koji a second glance since looking at him earlier. Even while talking, her attention is always focused on the papers in front of her.
君が錯乱した
Let's
親
say
友
you
の手で井戸
accuse
に
your
落と
friend
さ
of
れたと
pushing
主
you
張
into
す
a
る
well. Okay.
すると警察
In
はあと
addition
2
to
つ
your
ばかり真
statement,
実の
the
候
police
補
will
を用意
consider
する
2 alternative
君が
versions of the
狂
truth.
言自殺で親友を
Maybe you're
陥れ
making it
よ
all
う
up
と
to
して
frame
る
your friend.
あるいはもっとシン
Or
プルに
even simpler,
事故で井戸に
it
落
was
ち
an
た君は
accident.
錯乱
You
して
fell
親
into the
友
well
を
by
疑
yourself,
ってる
and the shock had made you paranoid or delusional.
この3案のどれかの
These 3
調査っていうレー
possibilities
スで
will
勝ちを
compete to
競
see
うわけ
which
だ
comes out with the most convincing
勝
evidence.
ち馬は誰にも
No
わ
one
からない
knows which will be the winner.
こんな博打に
Are you
君は
willing to
信
bet
頼潰す
everything
ま
you
で
have
かけ
on
る
your
気かい
truth?
Mm.
Damn.
Koji has no response. Can he really explain with cold, clear logic what drove Fuminori to do what he did? How can he convince anyone else when he doesn't understand himself?
Mm.
そして
And here's the
一
biggest
番の問題
problem.
は
Ryoko says calmly, cutting into Koji's thoughts.
君がそういうランチ
While
騒
you're
ぎ
raising
に手
hell
こ
with
ず
the
っている
police,
隙に
we'll lose our
先
chance
坂
to
文則を
corner
追い詰めるチャンスを逃す
Sakisaka.
ことだよ身辺で火の
If
手
he
が
sees
上がれ
trouble
ば
coming,
彼は手遅
he'll
れに
go
な
into
るのに
hiding,
さっさと姿を
and
く
then
らま
we'd
せ
be right back at square one.
そうやってまた万事が振り出しに戻る
She pauses to take a bite of her sandwich before finishing.
私が王外を取り
Just
逃が
like
したよ
when
う
I
に
let Ogai get away.
Heavy silence falls upon them, with only the soft rustle of pages turning in Ryoko's hands to mark the passage of time.
教えてくださいよ先生。
Please tell me, Doctor, Koji says, his hushed voice breaking through the quiet.
あなたが警察を差し置いてまで処刑しようなんて思うほ
What
ど
crime is so
そこま
unforgivable
で
that
許しがたいことって何なんで
that
す
you're determined to take justice into your own hands? What exactly did Ogai do in that room down there? Once again, Ryoko ignores Koji's question. This time, however, Koji doesn't back down. His silent glare demands her attention, and she pores through the documentation before her.
I'll read from here.
After some time,
yeah,
Ryoko rearranges the paper in her hands and sets them aside, as though having come to some conclusion. She then turns in her chair to face Koji for the first time since he awoke.
なあトノ君
Listen, Tono.
Her hard stare belies the calmness of her voice.
君はここいら辺で
You
降り
need
た
to get out of this while you still
ナ
can.
スカ日光の
There are a
温
lot
泉
of
でゆっくり羽
fine
を伸
hot
ばして
springs around here.
何もかも
Go
忘れる
relax
気になって
and don't return to
東京に
Tokyo
戻ってきなさい
until you're ready to forget any of this ever happened.
忘れろと。
Forget. Koji feels anger rise within.
近江は俺の恋人でした。文則は
Fuminori
俺の
was my
親友
best
でした。
friend. Oh,
それを
Omi was my
忘れろ
girlfriend.
と。
Fuminori was my best friend, and you're telling me to forget about them?
そうだ忘れろ
Yeah. Forget
これは
about
提
them.
案じゃない
Ryoko replies, coldly rebuffing Koji's anger. This isn't a suggestion or a warning.
Hot springs actually sounds pretty nice.
Yeah, it does. Feels great for hurtbacks.
This isn't a suggestion. It's a warning.
今まではどう
Whatever they were to you, that's all
これ
over
からの
now.
君の人生に
You'll never see
そ
them
の二人は
again.
一切関わりを持たな
I
いだろう
guarantee it.
断言してもいい。
じゃあ筑波は
And what about Tsukuba? Koji shouts, unable to control himself.
彼女はどうなるあ
She
の子は
begged me
電
for
話口
help
で
on the
俺に
phone.
助けを求
Something
めてた
terrible was
どこ
happening
かで
to
ひど
her.
い目に遭わされてたんだ
そりゃ何十時間
And
前
how
の
many
話
hours
かね
ago was that?
私が君を助けてから何時間経ったと
Do you
思
know
う
how much time has passed since I saved you?
そうでなけ
How
れば
much longer do you think you would have lasted down there if I hadn't?
あと何時間持ったと思う遅すぎるよ
Shakes her head, then declares coldly.
It's too late. She's already dead.
誰もが君ほど
Don't
幸
expect
運だなんて
everyone to be as
思わない
lucky
方
as
がいい
you.
あんたは
You're heartless, Koji growls, unable to suppress his anger.
あの井戸で俺の死体を見つけても
If you'd found me dead in that well, you
なんと
wouldn't
も思わなかったんだ
have thought anything of it, would you?
そりゃ覚
I
悟
was
してた
prepared for that, of course.
まさか生きてると
Ryoko
は
says
思わ
with
な
a
かった
shrug,
よ
unfazed by Koji's ire.
I hardly expected to find you alive.
It's futile to argue with
You
this woman.
child.
Koji realizes her values are fundamentally different from his own. Nothing he can say will ever move her. Okay. Ashe.
Hmm.
I need
Okay.
my back.
I'll just keep reading. Koji gets out of bed and stands on shaky leg.
どのくらい俺は寝てたんです
How long have I been asleep?
ざっと半日ばかり
About half a day. I envy your ability to recover so
消耗した後、速やかに休息が
quickly.
取れるってのは羨ましいね
It's a privilege of youth, so enjoy it while it lasts.
そういう無茶が効くの
as Luth is taking an aspirin right now. Koji looks at his watch and sees that it's 4 in the morning, which means that it was already early evening when Ryoku rescued him. He can't believe that he survived in that well for almost 2 days. Crazy. Now that the gaps in his memory have been filled and his sense of time has returned, he realizes that it's already Sunday morning. Ryoku's right. A lot of time has passed since he spoke to Yo on the phone. Koji grabs a sports drink and 2 jelly packs from the bag of food that Ryoko brought, then heads to the door. Too late for church, yeah, right? His legs are still a little unsteady, but he can compensate for that with sheer willpower.
念のため聞かせてもらうが
Just to make sure, mind telling me where you're going?
東京へ
Tokyo. Koji replies restfully. His tone is hard as hers.
筑波陽はまだ間に合うかもしれない
Tsukuba might still be
助け
alive.
に行きます
I'm gonna save her.
人の話を聞か
You
ないやつ
just
だね
don't listen, do you?
聞く耳持
I
た
could
ない
say
の
the
はお
same
互い様で
about
しょう
you. Koji is expecting Ryoko to watch him go with that cold, mocking smile of hers. Instead, however, she sighs heavily and rests her jaw in her hands.
もう少し待つ気はないか
Can't you just wait a little
こ
longer?
いつのどこかに
Somewhere in here? She thrusts her chin at the mountain of papers in front of her.
王外がサヤと名付けたものが
Oh,
何だ
somewhere in here is the answer to what this thing called Saya is. I think you should wait until I figure that
ちゃん
out.
と対策を
and come up
講
with
じ
a
てから
plan to deal
動く
with
べき
it.
だと私は思う
筑波が死んでると決めて
You
か
would
かってる
think
あなた
that
な
since you're already convinced that
当然そう思うでしょうね
Tsukuba is dead. In truth, Koji is extremely uneasy about going it alone. At the same time, however, he knows that he mustn't depend on Ryoko. She's made it clear that she doesn't care about saving lives. Teaming up with her will only make it more difficult to salvage something, anything, out of this nightmare.
殿君
Oh no, Ryoko calls just before Koji steps out the door. You almost got killed once
もう
already.
二度と殺されるな
Don't let it happen again. She picks something up from the table and tosses it to Koji. When Koji catches it, he feels its solid weight fill his hand. Oh,
これは
this is. Koji stares at the menacing shape of cold metal. It's a revolver, the same one that was clenched in Ogai's skeletal fist.
あと4発入ってる
It has 4 more
安全
shots.
装置はない
There's no safety, so just pull the
引き金
trigger
を
to
引くだ
fire.
けで弾が出るどこでどう使うか
How
は
you use it is up to
君の
you.
判断に任せるよ
If Koji were his usual cautious self, he would not hesitate to reject the dangerous offering. The only time you truly need a gun is when all hope is lost. He'd prefer not to fight a losing war. And yet, without even knowing it, Koji has already set foot into Ryoko's world. Choosing instinct over reason, he accepts the small but deadly weapon and stuffs it into his pocket. There's no question that Koji intends to save Yo and bring Fuminori to answer for his crimes. In the back of his mind, however, he can hear the footsteps of ruin approaching. Dun dun dun! When he steps out of the cabin's front door, Koji shivers as the wind tears into his skin. To his surprise, the outside air is even colder than the mud at the bottom of the well. Perhaps the cramped space mitigated the cold somewhat. If he had been exposed to this chill all night long, he would surely have frozen to death. Koji finds 2 cars parked in the yard. The smaller car next to his must be Ryoko's. When he sits behind the wheel of his car, he gets some relief from the feeling they had taken the first step, however small, back into his world. He sips the sports drink, wetting his parched throat, then washes down some jelly. His stomach rebels at the sudden influx of food after 36 hours on empty, but he manages to force down the urge to vomit. Koji needs the energy. No matter how hard it is, he must regain enough stamina to overcome the challenges ahead. After forcing down as much food as he can handle, Koji leans back in his seat and takes a short break. When he begins to feel like himself again, he reaches in the back seat and pulls his spare cell phone out of his bag. He never expected that carrying 2 phones would be such a stroke of luck. Why do you have 2 phones?
He bought a new one.
Oh, all right, yeah. So all you missed was he's like, "No, I'm going to Tokyo," and she's like, "You've already died, almost died once. Don't waste it. Here, have this gun, the gun that the skeleton had." And he's like, "Okay," and he took it. That's all you missed. Anyway. Rage, despair, sorrow, pity. He is unable to decide what to feel towards his friend. However, there's no time to dwell on the past. Every second lost diminishes the chance of saving Omi and Yo. Koji refuses to consider that it may already be too late. He seals himself and presses the button, then holds the phone to his ear as it rings. The shrill sound seems to go on for longer than is ever in his life. Right now, Fuminori's phone must be displaying the name of the caller. Koji wonders what his reaction will be when he sees it. The call goes through. In the silence on the other end of the phone, Koji senses surprise, apprehension, and dark fury. Feeling slightly gratified, Koji delivers the first jab. I guess I can be Koji for now if you want.
Yo,
I've got it.
Okay.
そんなに意外か死人からの電話は
What? Weren't expecting a call from a dead man?
驚いたね。どうやって
I'm surprised. How did you manage it? Ad break in 2 minutes 50 seconds.
Okay. I'll pay attention.
As Koji is about to answer, an idea suddenly comes to him. Got
I'm
it.
the narrator.
I'm back. Sorry.
I'm the narrator. As Koji's about to answer, an idea suddenly comes to him.
井戸の底に仕掛けがあったのさ地下の隠し部屋に行くためのな
There was a secret passage in the well, Koji says, a plan forming rapidly in his mind. It led to a hidden underground lab.
You're not letting me read. It's okay. Go.
He pauses to let that sink in. Then, with satisfaction filling his voice, he says,
会えたぜ
I met Ogai Masahiko.
Did he?
Kinda.
Oh,
Oh!
it's not really a lie.
Fuminori's gasp tells Koji that the advantage is his. Keeping his voice bold, he decides to further exaggerate the truth. I know it all. Everything about Saya. You're finished, Fuminori.
Oh!
I've got all the proof I need to blow this thing wide open. You won't even see it coming.
貴様は
You son of a bitch. It's obvious from Fuminori's tone that rage is overwhelmed with his reason. Koji's bluff worked perfectly. His victory is tainted, however, as Fuminori's response to the name Saya brings a cry of anguish from the corner of his heart and still wants to believe his friend can be saved.
If Sakisaka is involved with whatever Saya is,
Ryoko's words played in the back of his head, sounding even colder than before.
then he's already past the point of no return.
He mustn't allow emotion to sway him. Where are Omi and Yo? Koji suddenly switches topics, trying to keep Fuminori off balance. It all comes down to this. Depending on your answer, I might be willing to cut you a deal.
So we're about to have an ad break. I don't know how long it'll be. Don't worry for people who aren't subscribed. I'll kind of pause for as long as the ad is, so that way no one misses anything.
See you guys on the other
CC on the
side.
side. Oh, how long is it? Does it say?
It is not telling
It's not
me.
telling us here. I can look. Boop, boop, boop.
Usually it
I
does.
know. How long is the ad break? Which weird.
But what?
Is there no ad break, even though it said there was going to be an ad break? I guess it didn't happen.
Hold on. I'll open Firefox.
Yeah.
Since I'm not logged in on Firefox.
Is there no ad? I was trying to be nice. It didn't even have an ad. Yeah, it doesn't say there's an ad break. According to Twitch. I'm not seeing it. Alright. I'll keep going then. Weird. Alright. Just in case. Okay, we'll continue. Oh, now I'm seeing. Oh, ad break. Oh, no, wait, maybe it started. Did it start now?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, for 3 minutes. Well, I can talk about something that's really annoying. So, I guess this will interest Ant more, or people who use Duolingo. This might be interesting for you guys. So I'm basically kind of soft locked right now. Ah, thank you for gifting a sub. Appreciate it. But we'll still wait. We'll still wait for the people so you can hear my Duolingo. So basically, I'm kind of soft locked right now on Duolingo. I keep doing really well, and then I get kanji lessons, and then I kind of suck at those, which is fine, but I get through them. But for some reason, I'm stuck on a kanji one right now, where I'm doing the right thing, and it's saying I'm wrong. So it just makes me fail over and over. And it's really annoying because it gives me the answer. I basically copy and paste and do exactly that answer. And it's still... No, I'm not streaming it.
Stream it.
Why? I'm just going to fail. You know what? And guess what? I'm not going to do my Duolingo. I'm going to take the freeze tonight. I'm giving it the big L. Yeah. Ugh. That's what I'm doing. But it's going to be kind of fun. But because I fail it, I get to do the regain heart one, and it's actually giving me one so that I can speak to my phone. And it's really awkward though, speaking out loud. but yeah. So I can't. So as of right now, I can't even move forward with my Duolingo. And I looked it up on Google, and I saw this is actually a pretty well-known problem that they have. So I don't know if anyone else has ever had this issue too. Just it doesn't want me to learn Japanese anymore, I guess. Mm-hmm.
Tragic.
Very tragic. Got 30 seconds. Also, we've been working on Final Fantasy Rebirth the past week while I was sick, and we've done everything but the last side quests. And we had to do a lot of chocobo racing today. A lot of chocobo racing.
Oh, I guess I
Hmm.
I need to take a picture of something real quick and post it in Discord.
Yeah. Oh, it ended. We're back.
Hello,
Well,
welcome
back.
back. You guys missed Ashe
Mm.
saying that she is going to be doing
I'm
Duolingo
not.
streams.
What? That's not what happened. Don't lie.
She totally did.
I'm not doing
Yeah.
Duolingo.
She totally
I'm
said
not
that,
doing
didn't she?
Duolingo. It'd be so boring. Just watching me struggle, and I couldn't make it work.
You got it.
Plus, I'm stuck. I'm hard locked right now. We've said this already. So it would be the same thing over and over. No, I do understand. See, it's cute when the Japanese girls do English. It's very fun. It's cute and funny. It won't work the other way around. I know you love the struggle. But I don't want to do it. It'd be the shortest stream. You'd be like, all right, 5 minutes. There you go. Anyway, let's continue this. So, I think we're on here.
Back.
You're back. Oh.
Wait, what's the one direction where it starts hurting? Okay. If you swear not to cause any more harm, I'll forget about what you did to me, and about what I found.
What a threat.
Anyway. And about what I found in the cabin.
俺だってこれ以上お前とセヤに関わり合いを持つのは願い下げなんだ。
I don't want
お前たちさえ無事に戻ればいい。
anything more to do with you and Saya anyway. All I want is for Omi and Yo to be safe.
Too late, but it's okay.
A little too late for that.
人ようで
Omi and Yo. Fuminori's voice trails off. He's obviously trying to decide how far Koji can be trusted, and whether there's room for negotiation. Fuminori has been called out, and now it's time for him to show his hand.
近江のことは本当に知らない
I honestly don't know
彼女は
anything
家まで
about
来ていない
Omi. She never came by my house. Yo, on the other hand,
Uh-oh.
she's and then Fuminori pauses, and then gives a knowing chuckle that sends a chill up Koji's spine.
ようはどうだかな
Well,
彼女
I
自身
wonder
が
if she'll
ここにい
really
るか
want
どうか
Ooh.
お前のところにいるんだな。
She's with you, isn't she? Koji's relieved to learn Yo's location, and that she is, at least, still alive. At the same time, however, he remembers that horrifying phone call. It's clear now that Fuminori played some part in Yo's suffering.
Better not flashback. I swear. I had to do so much editing for YouTube. Not really. Not too much, but I had to really make sure.
Had she already fallen into this trap back then? What has happened to her? How is she being treated?
彼女はね
Her wish finally came true, Fuminori says with venomous sarcasm. She's my property now. I guess you and Omi got what you wanted after all. boy.
Hmm.
Koji feels despair settle over his soul. How much lower will this man go? Must Fuminori seek out and destroy every memory of the friendship they once shared?
つくばを解放しろ。彼女の安全を
Let
確認しろ。
Tsukuba go.
お前
When
ら
I'm
につい
sure
ての
she's
証拠を
safe,
破棄してや
I'll
る。
destroy everything I have on you and Saya.
信用できるかそっちが責任
How can I trust you? First, I want you to.
お前に選択の余地を与えるつもり
I'm
はな
not
いよ。
giving you a choice here, Fuminori.
Ooh.
Koji instinctively realizes that it is dangerous to push his bluff any further.
後でまた連絡する。それまでによく考えておけ。
I'll call again later. You have until then to make up your mind.
The ball's in his court.
He hangs up without waiting for a response. Fuminori doesn't know that Koji is still at the cabin in Ochiki. Right now, he's probably worrying about whether Koji will show up in one hour or 1 minute. Koji hopes that he'll be able to take advantage of Fuminori's confusion. 3 hours. That's how long it'll take to race all the way back to Tokyo. Koji is afraid that his body won't carry him through such a long drive. His mind is clear, but his limbs still feel half asleep, like they're weighed down with lead.
Yeah.
Although he knows that he has to stay resolute, Koji still longs for the peace that he had just a few days ago, when life or death struggles were the furthest thing from his mind. Back then, he could never have imagined himself fighting to rescue a friend from the clutches of a madman. With each passing moment, he feels himself becoming less like the person he was. When all of this is over, will he be able to return? When all of this is over, will he be able to return to his old life?
Maybe. Probably not.
Can I speak without running over my words tonight?
Maybe.
That's impossible at this point. Or will this change continue until it's consumed him utterly?
Probably.
Probably.
Mm.
Time is against him. Every second that passes is wasted. Even so, he decides to allow himself just 5 minutes of weakness. For exactly 5 minutes, he leans against the steering wheel and cries. And when his tears have run dry, his heart is calm. Koji starts up his car and drives away. Oh, wait.
And then calm. Okay. And then he deja vu'd his way.
Oh, okay. I stare at the silent phone in my hand. There is anger, of course, but something cold and heavy holds my emotions in check. The sense of danger. To be honest, I'm surprised at how calm I am.
主人様
Master? Oh, it's Yo. Oh God. It's Yo.
Oh no. No, it's
hold
Yo.
on.
Hey, yo.
Okay, I got it.
Okay.
Okay.
Yo looks up at me apprehensively, her head between my thighs. She was attending to me throughout the call.
Oh my God. What?
The remaining fragments of her memories seem to have joined together. as she regained some degree of speech. Upon realizing this last night, Saya began to teach her language once more. I assume she finds our pet's efforts amusing. Oh, baby.
怒らないでよ。
Don't be mad. Yo will try harder.
That's not the only thing that's hard. I mean, anyway, the pleasure from her ministrations threatens to impede my thoughts. And besides, my arousal has already vanished. At first, I considered making her stop. When I gaze into her puppy dog eyes, however, I began to think differently. Oh boy.
Okay. I'm getting ready. Okay.
Do we need to put a hotkey on your
You know,
stream deck
no,
for
I
the
might
Gura?
have to. Eventually. I mean, a lot of the games I've noticed I plan on playing on YouTube have panic buttons. That's escape. So I might, yeah, actually, let's do that. That's a good idea. Gura button. Okay.
Thanks to Saya, I have family once again. For the first time, I am becoming aware of the responsibility that places on me. I am now the head of a new Sakisaka household, as well as its only male member. It is my duty to protect, comfort, and ensure the happiness of the women living under my roof.
Oh boy.
I do think we should hold a quick recap, right?
Oh, yeah, for people who have...
For people who don't know.
Okay.
So last time, it was his girlfriend before the accident, right?
No, it was like a friend of the
I thought-
group, but she had a crush on him.
Okay.
And she never said anything, but then she tried to say something after, like when he's already crazy.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I gather.
Okay. Either way, this chick goes to his house, gets
Attacked
attacked
by Saya.
by the flesh monster.
Saya.
By Saya. And Saya turns her into a flesh monster.
We think.
What we
assume because so usually Fuminori, when he sees a normal person, they look like flesh monsters. So Saya gifted this girl to Fuminori and made her like her, so that because when he looks at Saya, he sees like a normal person. And now Yo looks like a normal person. Yeah.
Either way, she's mindless and she's playing with his hog.
Yeah, she's the pet.
That's a little bit further than pet.
Yeah.
Like, do you want to go Whitney, Wisconsin on the animals? Don't Google search that name.
Okay. Anyway, we'll,
with that in mind, I know that I mustn't show fear or confusion. That would only cause them distress.
Oh.
Continue.
Yes, master.
Bader. Anyway. I entrust myself to Yo's eager touch, basking in the pleasure with one part of my mind while contemplating our current predicament with the
I
other.
wonder if in the actual version this is actually
Oh, I almost have no doubt.
Okay. Oh.
It could possibly not be. It is clear that I made a grave error when I failed to finish Koji off 2 days ago. Right now, I need to set my frustration and anger aside and deal with this problem.
I just like to think he's just he has like his thinking
logic
with his little hand on his chin, like as she's just doing things. Yes.
Grapefruit technique. It's time to leave. I have no way of knowing when Koji escaped from the well, or how much he has learned, or how many people he has had contact with since then. Now that it's impossible to know how far the problem has spread, merely disposing of Koji won't guarantee our safety.
Hmm.
When the enemy has poisoned your water supply, you can't take the risk that even one drop might remain. Your only choice is to stop drinking the water.
ねえ、ふみのり、誰と
It's
話してるの
Saya. Fuminori, who are you talking to?
Saya returns from the kitchen, where she had gone in search of a midnight snack. She is munching on her favorite, spare ribs.
Mmm. Baby back.
Purging myself of unease and impatience, I respond with a casual shrug.
ちょっと厄介なことになりそうだ。
Looks like we have a
工事
little
のやつが
problem.
生きててさ。
That bastard Koji is still alive.
あらま。
Oh dear.
By breaking the news suddenly and without any trace of anxiety, I am able to avoid frightening Saya. Instead, she is merely surprised. I knew that remaining calm would work. Moreover, I am currently being pleasured by Yo. It would be hard for anyone to get serious under these circumstances.
Just so you know. Yeah.
なあさや。僕たち、
Saya, it might be best if we leave
Kono
this house.
そうか。
Soka.
Saya lowers her eyes and strokes her chin thoughtfully.
They're just both. Hmm. Hmm.
Herm. Herm.
まあ、どっちみち鈴美さんの一家が消えたのがバレれば、
This is bound to happen sooner or later. Even without Koji, it's only a matter of time before someone reports the Suzumi family missing.
That's true.
うん。
They usually go to the neighbors, don't they?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Saya nods. I can tell that she's reluctant to leave, but at least there's no sadness in her expression. Everything will be fine. I will protect my life with Saya just as I have up until now. I have that power. Knowing that we've overcome one problem fills me with new confidence.
大丈夫。安心していいよ。さ、
Now then,
じゃあ急いで支度し
you
よう。
better get ready.
Hey.
We can travel light and take the Suzumi family car. I'd better withdraw everything that's left in my bank account and carry it as cash. I also need a weapon, something more reliable than a butcher's knife. Koji will most likely follow. He thinks that Yo can still be saved. However, I'm not abandoning this house just to run away. As long as Koji knows our location, we're stuck on the defensive. Leaving gives me the chance to regain the initiative and deal with him in a place of my choosing. Next time we meet, I'll kill him with my two hands. I'll make sure to wring every last drop of life out of his body. Damn. A shiver runs through me as I anticipate the battle ahead, and my bloodlust burns like an orgasmic fire.
Okay.
Just then,
Just then. Ooh. You. Oh, it's me. When Ryoko looks up, the morning sun is already streaming in through the window. Tired from hours of poring over files, she removes her glasses and massages her aching eyes. Her dreams are always filled with horror, yet the night she just spent was more nightmarish than them all. It's not over yet. She has only just set foot on the threshold. As expected, the files left by Ogai Masahiko were not the sort that Ryoko could simply pick up and read. Fortunately, Ogai had been too old-fashioned to put his trust in electronic media. If he decrypted his files on a computer, she would have to find a hacker to decipher them. In fact, he had not employed any kind of code in his writing. That would have been too time-consuming by hand. The method of obfuscation he did use was quite simple. Of the files Ryoko pulled from his underground lab, the majority turned out to be notes and theses from Ogai's days as a student. The important papers were the diaries and research notes that had been scattered throughout the piles of worthless scrap. At first, she was unable to understand the documents that she had found. Each sheet was covered with text on one side and blank on the other. Each line was completely unrelated to the next, making it impossible to glean any meaning from the whole. The trick revealed itself, however. While she was sorting the pages that made no sense, she found each line continued on the same line of a different page. In Ogai's diary, for example, the first day began on the first line, then continued not with the next line, but the first line on the next page. Similarly, the second day was the second line, the third day was the third line, and so on and so forth. After filling all the lines on one set of pages, Ogai had torn them out and scattered them among his other files. There's no regularity to how the pages are numbered, of course. Unable to locate any sort of key or legend, Ryoko had no choice but to figure out the page order manually. Despite knowing that the task would be exhausting, Ryoko set it to it valiantly. After separating all the loose leaf sheets from the jumbled files, she began to painstakingly process of linking pages together, according to the contents of their first line. She found that Ogai had dismantled and scattered his diary each time he completed a number of pages equal to the lines on one page, and he had done the same with his research notes every 30 pages or so. That diary was much easier to restore, because the entries varied in length. Later pages had a large number of blank lines. The page with only one line, therefore, was the last page of the diary, and those with the most blank spaces could be considered closer to the end. Ryoko's perseverance had paid off, but she had already succeeded in restoring several volumes of Ogai's diary. As she reads them, she feels despair, draining her spirit, as it had so many times before. This cursed feeling of powerlessness that comes with knowing hidden truths. Those who have tasted it once shall be beaten down by it, and again until the day they die. All secrets are connected, after all. Once you have glimpsed even the tiniest fraction of the world's true face, you have no choice but to watch in horror as the veil rolls itself back inch by inch. All that remains is to wait for the day when insanity will crush your reason under its ever-mounting weight. I have succeeded in communicating with the organism. It shows enormous curiosity, and its intelligence is beyond doubt. See research notes for confirmed vocal patterns and body language. Its appetite for knowledge is insatiable, and its learning speed is off the charts. However, it exhibits absolutely no desire to be recognized as an individual. Its ego appears to be quite weak, suggesting a psyche wholly unlike that of a human. The speed of the organism's linguistic development is astounding. When I laughed at its mispronunciations, oh, I know how that is, it immediately picked up the concept of puns. Ever since it's been employing its entire vocabulary in an attempt to find puns that'll make me laugh. Perhaps in a few days' time, it will have learned enough language for us to communicate freely. The organism's command of spoken language is now sufficient to facilitate higher level discourse, but although it has regaled me with questions all day, it remains unable to answer any of mine. The replies suggest that it gained awareness only after materializing in this universe. It has no knowledge of where it came from. While I am disappointed, the fact that it has reached this level of intelligence only 1 week after starting to think tells me there is no end to what I can learn from it. Hypothesis. It is not naturally occurring organism, but it was created by even more sophisticated sentient life form. That could explain why it has no ego, yet possesses such a hunger for knowledge. It might be some sort of renaissance drone that was sent here from another world. I apologize if I pronounce things wrong during this. That's not something else. Ryoko smiles humorously for the upteenth time that she started reading. How wonderful it would be if she could laugh the diary off as the delusions of a madman or the work of science fiction author. Alas, she knows far too much. When she thinks back to the many horrors that Ogai brought into her life, the words before her take on a chilling credibility. I have confirmed that the organism's brain power far surpasses any human's. This morning I taught about prime numbers. After I explained the Lucas-Lemire test for Mersenne primes, it immediately began to list examples that I calculate in its head. I was only able to confirm by memory up to number 10, M89, but it continued to list further examples without any trouble. I left it to its calculations, and when I returned a few hours later, I discovered I had written down more than 70 of them. Computers all over the world are currently working to calculate Mersenne's primes, but the last one I remember being found was the 39th, back in 2001. When I entered several of the results in my laptop and ran the Lucas-Lemire test on them, I found that every one was correct. The same is no doubt true of the rest. After all, the organism has never shown the pathological need for respect that would lead it to lie about its accomplishments. I see no reason to doubt its veracity. It is really flickering the TV. It's
Yeah,
like
it is.
really badly now doing it.
Give 1 sec.
We'll just see if that works. If I could reveal to the world an expedient method of discovering Mersenne primes, the prize money would make me a billionaire. Of course, my current research is worth far more than any sum of money. I must keep it a secret. The organism's computational speed, thank you, exceeds that of even the most powerful supercomputers. I can only conclude that its cognitive faculties are beyond anything humanity can imagine. Let me take some water real quick. Blah, blah, blah. At the organism's request, we have begun a new field of study. Despite its immeasurable aptitude for mathematics, it now desires to concentrate on sociology and the natural sciences. Perhaps our math problems are simply too elementary for it. It has shown especially keen interest in the means by which organisms reproduce and multiply. As it possesses nothing that could be called emotion, I hesitate to use this description. When it learned about DNA, it seemed somehow excited. In fact, the organism itself seems surprised by its reaction. When asked about the nature of the impulse, the organism decided to label it instinct. If this description is indeed accurate, then this is extremely significant development. It would mean that there's a deeper level to its psyche than just the knowledge it has acquired since coming in the world. If I can use discovery to trace its roots, I might be able to learn what it truly is. You know what this reminds me of? Because we played it recently. This reminds me of Pikmin. His like little entries on each day when he's talking about the Pikmin. This is what it reminds me of, except way darker. Anyway. Note, candidates for the plane and world of the organism's origin are discussed in my writings on the Silver Key, filed separately. I spent the whole day carrying books into its room. Apparently, the organism is no longer satisfied by the knowledge I am able to impart. It should come as no surprise considering its linguistic prowess, but the speed at which it consumes text is astounding. The diary continues for some time, chronicling the intimate relationship between Ogai and the organism. In the back of her mind, Ryoku imagines the old doctor climbing down the well in the middle of the night to hold congress with some inhuman creature in that bizarre laboratory. The image is disturbingly similar to the nightmares that have been shattering the silence of many nights with her screams. What follows, however, makes even her worst nightmare pale in comparison. The organism has made a very strange request. This is the first time it has asked for anything other than food and reading materials. I can hardly believe it, but it wants to consume the sperm of living creatures. This is a separate from its desire for food. Once again, it is describing this impulse as instinctive. Now that it has declared itself a life form that requires the seed of males, it has begun to identify itself as female. After today, I suppose I shall have to start calling the organism a she. Is the personality that she begun to exhibit really just imitation created for her amusement? Ever since she started to immerse herself in our literature, she had been acting astonishingly human. She identifies herself as female and already possesses an enormous store of cultural knowledge. Is she trying to create a human identity for herself based on these? I've seen her laugh, grow angry, and I've seen her laugh, grow angry, and today she cried. Is she just copying our emotional displays? If not, then she's already... Is the soul something that any intelligent life form can acquire? I feel that I am witnessing something more mysterious than the genesis of life itself. Today is her birthday. Although it is a year late, I want to give her a special gift. Saya was the name of my mother's cat. In childhood, she was my sole friend and my beloved. I decided long ago that if I've ever been blessed with children, I would give this name to my daughter. Happy birthday, Saya. Happy birthday, Saya! Let this be the name of your soul. You have earned it. The ability that Saya has discovered in herself is showing more extraordinary results each day. I have no doubt she's kind of an artist. What exactly is it that she created in her body from the rat semen I gave her? At this point, I can only surmise that it's the type of retrovirus, a reverse transcript enzyme that creates exactly what she desires. Didn't you say something, Aunt, about a mouse? Or now that I'm thinking about it. Anyway, that's really weird. The rats have been transformed by her art are so very beautiful now. The many enzymes secreted by her body and the various appendages she uses are discussed in detail in my biological observations, filled separately. Here, I will say this. By witnessing Saya perform her operations on several rats, I've gained much more confidence in my theory that her body is designed specifically to manipulate the biology of other organisms. Ryoka looked grimly at the still unsorted mountain of research notes. When she finally managed to separate those papers, she'll probably find the many other files mentioned in the diary. Ogai's biological observations at the very least. She wants to look through those before facing the thing called Saya. Under no circumstances does she want to go to battle unprepared. She looks at her watch and sees it's already 7 in the morning. Assuming Koji made no stops, he should be arriving in Tokyo about now. Now that it's too late, she wishes she stopped that stubborn fool from leaving, even if she had to shoot him in the leg to do it. I don't know. Alright.
I was doing some mild calisthenics to try and help my back from hurting so much. Okay. Koji pulls up 2 blocks away from the Sakisaka house and stares at the silent building. In the bright light of the morning, the house seems to be shrouded in a dark miasma, like a black hole torn out of the landscape. It's just a figment of... Is it just a figment of Koji's imagination? Every window is closed, offering no glimpse of the inside. Koji has no way of knowing whether Kuminori is home. A pedestrian walks his dog down the street and glances back at Koji through the windshield after he passes by. Koji isn't surprised by the attention. He hasn't bathed or changed clothes since spending the night buried in the mud, so he must look like a vagrant, even inside his car. When he looks into the rearview mirror, he sees the haggard visage of a man with 1 foot in the grave staring back at him. It's hard to believe that the tired, unshaven face is really his.
And he's unshaven.
Hang on, I have a question for you. Did they get attacked by rats at some point? Or am I thinking of a completely different game at this point?
I don't remember rats. The only time rat was mentioned is when we first started it. And Aunt said something about she's like a rat monster or something.
Okay.
I think. Yeah, it must be something else.
If he stays here for too long, someone might report him to the police. He better pull himself together and get moving. He drives slowly up to the front of Fuminori's house, quickly checks to make sure no one is around, and gets out of the car. Anyone who might be in the house probably heard the sound of the engine. There's no point in worrying about that now. Koji walks swiftly through the gate and yard to the front door. He puts his hand on the doorknob, foregoing the bell. The time for such pleasantries is past. The door is unlocked and the knob turns easily in his hand. He puts his ear up to the door and listens for any sign of life. He's acting like a thief. He realizes with some shame. He's acting like a thief, he realizes with some shame, but that's the least of his worries now. No sound from within. After checking the street again to make sure no one is looking, he quickly opens the door and disappears inside.
Oh.
The indescribable stink immediately assaults his nostrils. He is already prepared for anything, however, so rather than discouraging him, the stench only sharpens his caution to a razor's edge. He has crossed this threshold many times in the past, and his memories of days spent here are still bright. So why does he feel like the same ominous, blood-chilling aura that permeates Ogai's home? Why does he feel the same ominous, blood-chilling aura that permeated Ogai's home and cabin? Anger and sorrow seizes Koji's heart, as though a dear friend's grave has been defiled. Koji doesn't remove his shoes before entering. He knows why he's here, and it's not to be polite. Every storm shutter is closed, filling the house with gloom, and he can see nothing but pitch-black darkness through the open doors in the hallway. He should have brought his flashlight from the car, he thinks ruefully, then remembers that he dropped the light when Fuminori attacked him. It's still lying in the backyard of the cabin in Tochigi. The house might be empty, then again it might not. Each particle of the air seems charged with silent menace. Is his enemy lurking somewhere in the darkness? It's not hard to imagine Fuminori waiting for a chance to take him by surprise and finish what he failed to do. Koji walks down the first floor hallway, then climbs the stairs and checks the second floor too. He moves slowly and carefully, keeping his senses sharp, but feels nothing watching him in the shadows. After completing his round safely, he is convinced that the house is empty. He suddenly realizes that his right hand is touching the cold steel of the gun in his pocket. Did he intend to draw the weapon upon encountering Fuminori? Now that Koji thinks about it, his own actions seem mysterious to him. What is he planning to do when he meets Fuminori? Will he lay into him with curses and epithets?
Maybe.
Or will he force him to turn himself in? Or will he... Koji shakes his head. This isn't the time for such hopeless questions. If he keeps thinking, he'll stop moving. If he stops moving, fear will paralyze him forever. His only choice is to keep marching on. He has to close the distance to his prey. In any case, Fuminori isn't home. What form the reunion takes will probably be decided the moment of their meeting. All Koji has to do is not hesitate when the time comes. Still, why does the whole house smell like stagnant water? It's been 3 months since Fuminori distanced himself from his friends. What kind of life has he been leading this whole time? Koji enters the living room, feels along the wall for a light switch. The moment he flips it on, the answer to his question is revealed. What? How far has Fuminori gone? Koji realizes that this is the first time he has encountered Fuminori's insanity in visible form. From the dust piled in the corners of the room, it is clear that the paint was not applied recently. How many nights has Fuminori spent surrounded by this maddening array of colors? Why, if such obvious signs were available, why didn't Koji realize that something was wrong before it got this bad? Was he deaf to the dying screams of Fuminori's sanity? Was their friendship really so worthless? As he stands petrified in the unfamiliar living room, Koji directs his anger entirely at himself. If he could, he would like nothing more to apologize to Fuminori for failing to help him through his suffering. Koji feels that he might have been able to save his friend. Perhaps he is arrogant, but if so, it's arrogance born of kindness. Koji passes through the living room and opens the sliding door that leads to the kitchen. When he enters, he finds the most disturbing of the house's many stenches, strongest here. Blood. The room is so redolent with the smell of countless layers of blood grown stale over time. He peers into the well-used sink. Around the rim, he sees faint, brownish-red blotches that water alone couldn't rinse off. Even more obvious are the stains on the dish rag. Such stains are proof that the rag has been used and reused countless times. What could it have been used on to make it that sickening burgundy color? Koji stares at the refrigerator next to the counter as though it were a monster waiting to swallow him whole. He stands motionless until he is able to work up the courage to simply touch it. Then he steels himself, grabs the thick handle, and opens the door. He'll check the freezer, then the refrigerator. The freezer is packed with frozen meat of varying shapes and sizes. As each piece is wrapped tightly and frosted over plastic, he can't tell what kind of meat it is. The meat in the refrigerator, however, has already been thawed for consumption. Hey, yo. For a while, he can only stare in disbelief at the 5 fingers beckoning to him from the back of the compartment. They are long, slender fingers. They are the long, slender fingers of a woman, the bluish tinge giving them the appearance of waxwork. Koji is unable to remember what Omi's hands look like, even though he has kissed the fingers countless times. When he finished crying after his conversation with Fuminori, Koji promised himself that he would not cry again. In fact, he does not. He regrets his decision, however. He indulged himself too early. He should have saved his soothing tears for this moment. For now, he truly knows there's nothing as sacred. At last, his doubts about Fuminori have been utterly obliterated. Koji pulls Ogai's revolver out of his pocket and wraps his hand around its grip like he would a charm. Its definite presence, its promise of merciful annihilation, is the only thing keeping his sanity intact. He will surely use it to kill Sakisako Fuminori. Not for revenge. Not for justice. But to make this world once more a place governed by reason. For that purpose alone, he must eliminate the anomaly.
No, Hirashi.
Seems like Arashi came in at
Like, yeah.
a interesting time. He breathes deep, exhales, then lifts his hands before his face and stares at his spread fingers. Alright, he's not shaking. He is prepared to face his new objective. Koji sticks the revolver back into his pocket and pulls out his phone.
Okay. This is very important. I mean, I'm probably what's gonna happen. Wait.
He's on number 16.
On 16?
Yep.
What if I can't? Okay,
do
so would it be? It would be.
Oh wait, no, you have to do 1.
Oh, 1. and then 16, and then save.
There you
Okay.
go.
So this is what's gonna happen tonight. Okay. So, depending on what we choose here is what ending we get.
Oh,
Now,
interesting.
yes. So I'm gonna double check and make sure I pick the one that I'm pretty sure. So just to, what one would you think? Which one would you want to go for? Like personally, discuss that while yeah.
Well, I mean, I was I don't want to say forced. Forced is a bad word for this. I was what is the word I'm thinking of, Ash?
I hinted that.
I had the suggestion
Yeah.
that we should go with the be nice to Saya ending,
Yes.
even though I kind of just want to bang bang shoot up all these people.
Why it's being difficult.
So I believe we'll go with the Saya ending.
Yeah, so how it's gonna work is I think the side ending is the better ending, to be fair. I was gonna show it, but what I'm gonna do if I can find this, I'll explain what the other ending is. I'll just read it. But I just want to find the actual. What? This isn't it either. This one? Aha! I think I found it. Possibly.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
You should call Ryoko. He's gonna call Fuminori.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna call Fuminori. So we're gonna go with that ending. When it's over, we're in the credits, everything's done, I'll go back and I'll what I can do is I'll read what happens. I can also tell you there was another choice. I don't even know what stream that was. Second stream? There was another choice. Oh, it was the not choose Saya part, right? If you remember that choice, I'll tell you what happens if you don't either. So, you'll get kind of the full content, of what. Okay? So for this, we'll just do... Yeah, the logical thing would be call Ryoko. Yeah, that is right.
Koji's not very logical, though. So he's gonna call Fuminori.
Yeah. I just want to make sure real quick. Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll leave this up. Okay.
Also, just for making sure you're aware, we should be having ad break in about 6.5 minutes.
Okay. That's fine. I'll snooze it, because I do have 3 snoozes to use, so I think I will snooze it, that one, if I see it pop up. Okay, so call Fuminori. Yeah.
It's time to finish this. Just as he promised earlier, Koji calls Fuminori again. The call goes through immediately. Fuminori must have been waiting for it. Hey Koji, where are you?
どこだろうと関係ないだろう。
What difference does it make? As soon as Koji responds, a shrill ringing fills the house. Startled, Koji spins around and looks into the hallway. The house phone is flashing to signal an incoming call. I see. I figured you'd be at my house. Koji fell for it. Fuminori is the one calling the house, and now he knows exactly where Koji is. He must have predicted that this would be Koji's first stop, and that Koji would call upon him, finding it empty. So, I guess you've already seen everything.
Ah.
Yeah, Koji keeps his voice bold to conceal his horror. When did Fuminori become so cunning?
Are you playing this game?
It looks like you've become quite the meat eater since we last met. How many people have you killed?
いや僕はまだ一人だけ
Actually, I've only killed one so far. Fuminori replies unapologetically, his tone upbeat.
でも解体だけなら3、4人ってとこ
I've taken apart 3 or 4 though. I'm getting pretty good at removing tendons, draining the blood and such. This guy. Right. Koji no longer feels sadness or horror when faced with Fuminori's inhumanity. There is only cold desire to kill the creature speaking such revolting words with his friend's voice.
貴様近江を殺し
You
たな
killed Homie, didn't you,
知
you
らないっていう
bastard?
のは嘘だな
You were lying when you said you hadn't seen her.
どうなんだろう
I wonder. Fuminori mutters, seeming somehow embarrassed.
正直言うとね最初に食べたのが
I guess the first one I might have ate may have been Omi.
ちょうど
It was the same day she disappeared, come to think of it.
Oh boy.
Oh, baby.
誰の死体かなんてわからない
The body wasn't in any shape that I could identify. Koji had already abandoned hope, but it's still a shock to hear of his lover's brutal end.
つくばもか
Tsukuba too?
いや彼女はちゃんと
No, Fuminori says, with an exasperated chuckle.
彼女は取引も
He's here, like I promised. I'm no
捨て
fool.
たりしないさ
I need her to trade with you, right? I won't waste her.
声を聞かせろ
Let me hear her voice.
それはきっと無理かな
I don't think that's possible. She's in no shape to talk.
Yeah.
Fuminori's dismissive words further sharpen Koji's bloodlust.
言ったはずだぞ彼女を無事に解放しないなら
You forget what I said. If you don't let her go unharmed,
生きているだけでもよしとしてくれよ
come on, be happy she's still alive.
完全に死体になったような
Or would you rather have Yo as a corpse?
確認するがコージ
Let's get this straight, Koji. You bring your evidence along with all the files we gathered. When I'm satisfied that they're the real thing, I'll hand Yo over.
いいだろう
Fine. It's obvious that this deal was a sham. In all likelihood, Fuminori is planning to kill him and bury his secrets forever. Moreover, Koji doubts that Yo is even alive. Her meat could very well be somewhere in the refrigerator right in front of him. However, Koji isn't particularly interested in Fuminori's true intentions. After all, he has no intentions of making the trade either. His only goal is to get close enough to destroy Fuminori and whatever is pulling his strings.
場所は
Where?
お前が僕を尾行してきた王外教
You remember Dr. Rogai's house? The one you followed me to? Let's meet there tonight at 7. Come alone.
Okay.
Hey! Fuminori hangs up without waiting for Koji's response. Oh boy. Perhaps Fuminori too has sensed his opponent's intent. If so, then he has realized that Koji is not just the hunted, but the hunter as well. So we're like duelists maneuvering for advantage. Koji smiles grimly as he pockets his phone. It's astounding how much their relationship has changed.
I stopped it for 5 minutes. Okay. Oh, sorry. I stopped the ads for 5 minutes.
The question is whether or not to comply with the 7 o'clock rendezvous agreement. If this were a serious negotiation, then it would be wise to avoid preempting Fuminori in any way that could provoke his anger. What Koji and Fuminori are really doing, however, is trying to lure each other into a deadly trap. Koji doesn't know what Fuminori plans to do between now and then. but he's not about to let his enemy keep the initiative. The fierce bloodlust that's taken root in his heart is more than enough to energize his exhausted body. Koji leaves the death-filled house, his stride more determined than before. Bloody hell. Today was the first time I've driven since my accident last summer. Proposition was always too dangerous to consider, given my inability to recognize roads and cars. Things have changed, however. In the 3 months I've had to adapt to my condition, I know what cars and pedestrians look like now, and even though I can't exactly see colors, I've learned to decipher lights and turn signals. I still can't read street signs, of course. Nevertheless, I managed to make it safely to our destination with Saya and Yo in the back seat. It was Saya who came up with the idea for our new hideout, an abandoned building she discovered while living with Dr. Rogai.
Oh. Oh, this looks nice.
These hilly suburban residential areas, it's not hard to find thick patches of undeveloped forest just off the beaten path. Saya's old playground is located in one such secluded area, unaffected by the flow of everyday life. It used to be a privately operated sanatorium hidden among the silent trees. After the owners went bankrupt, it remained unsold and was eventually forgotten. After I left Saya and Yo at the hideout, I returned to town to make some preparations. Now I'm finally back for our new refuge. I liked this ruin from the moment I saw it. Mountains of construction materials and garbage litter the front yard, forming a serviceable barricade.
It does look like Sunny Meadows. I was thinking
This place looks even less likely to receive unwanted attention.
Sunny Meadows and Phasmo.
Since my brain sees humans as revolting monsters, places they've been tend to stink or seem covered in filthy slime. Ruins like these, long empty of life, places I find most restful.
Oh yes.
I'm back, I call out to let them know I'm not a stranger. Then I go down to the basement where they're hiding.
Welcome back. Are you okay with the car?
Can I mention something that I just noticed about her face?
What?
Her eyes look different. I don't know if it's just the art right here, but one eye is round and the other eye is angular. And it's now bothering me.
It's just
that
her. I think it's just
it.
the art.
It was no problem at all. I figured out how to tell which roads are one way. As long as I keep my speed down, there's nothing to worry about. So how are things here?
I took a look around. As I thought, there's no sign that anyone's been here since I found this place. It's safe.
I see. Let's hope it stays that way. I'm a little worried about this abandoned building could become a hangout for a biker gang or homeless people. Fucking eat them.
Right? It's probably because all the trash piled out front. Most people won't get anywhere near that, don't you think?
I guess. It doesn't bother me at all. I rather like it, in fact, but of course, normal people would feel different.
So, how was your shopping? Did you find something good? I guess I'll have to let this one go, but I still got a few minutes. We'll take like a little stretch break.
Yeah.
All right.
Sure did.
Whoa.
Proudly unwrapped the weapon I just bought from the camping goods store. A 1 meter long wooden axe. The biggest and sturdiest I could find. He's gonna be the half-sling slasher. Sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I like how this was right next to a sign saying long knives are illegal. Seems like he could do way more damage with one of these. I grip the axe with both hands, testing its dependable weight, then swing it like a baseball bat. The deadly steel blade sweeps through the air, right where a person's neck would be. Yo, who sprawled out on the floor, flinches at the sound and curls herself into a ball.
Oh. How sharp is it? Want to test it on Yo? Jesus, Saya.
それはちょっと
I don't think that'll be a good idea. I definitely wasn't expecting Saya to suggest something so brutal.
心配いらないよ。今のような体だったら刃物とかの傷
You don't need to worry.
は
Her new
簡単
body
に
can
治っちゃう
heal pretty easily from cuts and such.
いや、それにしたって痛いだろ
I'm sure it'll hurt.
そっか、
Oh,
そうだね。
yeah. I guess you're right.
Must have slipped her mind completely. She smiles at the obvious. She smiles at the oblivious Yo as if to hide her embarrassment, then says,
でもさ、痛く
But her
された
screams
時
are
の
pretty
ような
adorable.
それはそれで可愛い。
Don't you think?
いや、やっぱり人間に
Well,
物で切りかかるってのは
just wouldn't feel
気が
right
してるよ
using an axe on a human.
そうなの？
Really?
じゃあ、
Then what about
Koji-san
Koji?
そりゃだって
That's easy. It should be obvious, but I guess that Saya still doesn't understand.
奴は僕には人間に見えないから
I don't see
希望
him
が
as
強そうが
human.
平気なもんさ
I'll have no trouble cutting him to pieces.
そんなに違う
That really makes a difference? Alright, we're about to get an ad break. So we'll just do a be right back. Everyone get some refill of water, do some stretches. We'll be right back in a few minutes. We're muted? Ah! My bad.
Good job.
I hit the button. You know, sometimes the Stream Deck, I swear, you press the button and it doesn't want to work. Ah, okay. So we'll quickly say, my bad.
Here, I will do a
So,
thing.
first thing we notice, Phasmophobia
But yeah, Phasmo is going to be
is trending right now because it's on the console now, which
Yeah.
wasn't really a point because we all have it on PC. Second thing was just announced.
this thing.
Oh,
I don't know if they can see it.
they can't see it. Lame. Here, I can put it on Discord.
Why can't they see it?
I don't know. Put on this here, send it to me. And I'll bring it up.
That's dumb.
But
I'm going to post a link to the figure in
Oh,
the
that works. Yeah. You guys can look at it in the chat. No, just
Where-
put it on the actual.
Well, I'm putting this in there for the other people who aren't here
Ah.
tonight.
Yeah. Okay.
Visual
You do-
novel. There's the one that
You could do both. Put it in both.
and I will also put it in the doobly doo here on Twitch.
Yeah. So if you really like Saya, they just announced this. The Good Smile Company. You can have your own large-sized. It's a pop-up parade, right? So it's not like a 1/4. That'd be too good, right? Is it a 1/4? Is it a 1/4? Wait,
It's a pop-up
it's a pop-up parade. Oh,
It's the size of guts.
yeah. So it's like larger. Yeah, it's like a prize figure scale kind of
Well,
size.
bigger than prize figure. It's
You can have your
Hang
own.
on, I have to hit Ash's guts real quick.
I know. I got it. You don't have to. Don't. I know. Stop. Come on. God, I know. Anyway, you can have your own Saya on your desk and or shelf. Looking at you. Yeah.
I like Ant's meme.
Okay.
Ant posted a banger.
I think that's all we really said while we're muted.
Yeah, and then there's like another figure that
Yeah.
Ashe would be mildly interested in.
Yeah. It's a game I plan on playing.
Oh, we have colored versions of Spike and Faye from Cowboy Bebop and Androids.
Okay, we'll go over them later.
Yeah, me and you will.
Okay. All right. So, that really makes a difference?
Yeah. Humans have a conscience, you see.
どんなに憎い人間だろうと人を
Oh
殺
my
すと
god.
ブレーキがかかるもんだ
No matter
そ
how
こが
much you
僕の
hate
賞賛
someone,
でもある
you can't help but think twice about killing them.
Wow.
And then that's how I'll win.
本当に
Really?
Hopefully. Saya seems awfully subdued. I guess she's concerned about what'll happen when I have it out with
体
Koji.
格じゃあいつが上だし普通に喧嘩したんじゃ勝ち目は薄いかもしれないけ
He's
どね
bigger and stronger, so I might not have a chance against him. Straight up fight.
でも僕にとっての化け物退治が
But
あいつに
that's
とっては人殺しなん
just
だ
slaying a monster
こ
to
いつは
me.
大きいよ
Wait, I'm sorry.
あいつはきっ
But
と
what's just slaying a
最後の
monster
瞬
to
間
me
で
is
隙を見せる
murder to him. This is big. He'll definitely hesitate. Counts.
なんだか不安なんだよ
I'm
ね
a little worried.
そういう心理戦
Saya
っていう
says
の
softly, staring at the floor with unusual gravity.
You can never be sure how someone will react. It's dangerous to lie on that.
That's true. She raises her head and looks straight at me.
ねえやっぱり私が買った方が
Don't
よ
you
く
think
な
it'd
い
be better if I hunt him?
I appreciate Saya's consideration, even though it could be interpreted as a lack of faith in me. She's still putting my safety above hers. Nevertheless, I can't escape her heartfelt suggestion.
サヤの腕力だとさヨウみたい
With
な
your
女の子
strength,
なら
you might be able to overpower a girl like Yo, but I think it'd be hard for you to
厳しいと思うんだ
take down a guy. Man, I am getting back to the part where I can't read very well. Bitter memory of Saya's rape is still fresh in my mind.
Ah!
Saya falls silent for a moment,
YouTube doesn't like that
seeming
word.
to understand what I'm thinking, but then it comes right back to stubbornly press her case. I have a question. Should I not say that word, by the way?
No, it's probably not because I know YouTube doesn't like it.
You might have to censor that
Yeah.
on the VOD.
Yeah, that's fine.
でもね
Just find the jungle noises that Oni plays
The-
uses.
大抵の人間はね作用を見たら力が抜けて動けなくなっちゃうんだよ
Oh my,
My
the TV,
my first
man.
attack went fine though. Most humans go limp as soon as they see me. I'm just that.
病院だって
Sexy.
そうだった平気で
It was
話
the
し
same
か
in
け
the
てきたの
hospital.
って
You were the only
Only
one
no
who
ni
could
da
talk
yo.
to me.
まあそれも一理あるかもな
I guess you have a point. Can't imagine it personally. But I suppose it's possible that Saya's appearance is shocking enough to make someone lose their nerve. Suzumi was able to gain the advantage because he had the same condition as mine, which let him see Saya as a cute girl. Girl?
Oral? Whoa.
Girl. Anyway, fear doesn't necessarily make people weaker. However, depending on the situation, it can even send someone into a berserk rage and make them harder to put down. Jeez. In other words, such a tactic would be the same sort of gamble that Saya is worried about.
じゃあさサヤこういうのはどうだろうか
Alright, Saya, how about this? When I tell Saya the new plan that just popped in my head, her gloomy frown turns into a bright smile.
Hmm,
それめ
that's perfect.
ふみのりって
You're so
頭が
smart,
いい
Fuminori.
何もそこまで
Oh, stop. Bruh. It's not exactly a great plan, but I guess the fact that it lessens the risk to me is enough to excite her. She's so easy to please. That's part of what makes her so cute.
Pat, pat, pat.
で、いつ頃来るの？コウ
So
ジさん。
when's Koji coming?
今朝あれから電話があってさ、
I got a call from him this
とりあえ
morning.
ず関係ない場所に誘い出して
For
あ
now,
る。
I've sent him on a wild
少
goose
しじら
chase.
してやろう
I'm
と思っ
thinking
て
I should shake him up a little.
やっぱり暗くなってか
It'd
ら
be
がい
best to
いよ
take care
ね。
of him after it's dark. Don't you think?
ああ、頃合いを見計らってここに誘い出して仕留めよ
Yeah, when the time is right, I'll lure him here and finish him. You won't have to worry about any witnesses here.
せっかく人間一人分の肉
We're
が仕
finally
入れ
gonna
られ
get
るの
more
に、
human meat.
ここ
Too
だと
bad
腐
just going to
ら
rot
せちゃ
without
う
our
ね。
refrigerator.
冷蔵庫ないし。
Mm. Mm.
True.
う。他の動物を誘う餌にできないか？野良猫とかカラスをおびき寄せてさ。
Why don't we use it to trap other animals? It could be bait for stray cats or crows.
The kitties.
それ危ないよ。
That's too dangerous. If an animal gets away with that meat, someone might find it
他人に見つかったら
and
大
wonder where it
騒ぎ
came
になる
from.
よ。
そっか。それもそうだ。
Good point. Humans are extremely dangerous, and their filthy, stinking bodies just make me sick by being nearby. Ironically, however, nothing tastes better than their meat. I truly regret having to abandon our well-stocked fridge.
まあ、この辺だと
The forest around here is full of
森にも
animals.
色々と住んでるから
I don't think we'll have
そん
any
なに
trouble
食
finding
事には
food.
困らないんじゃないかな。
3人分だよ。大丈夫かい？
We have 3 mouths to feed, are you sure?
任せて。これ
Leave
で
it
も
to
さ
me. I
狩
may
り
not
は
look
得
at
意
it.
なんだから。
Look it, but I'm a
頑
pretty
張
good
っていっ
hunter.
ぱい捕まえ
I'll
て
be
く
sure
る
to
よ。
keep us well fed.
そうか。じゃあ、今日からはサヤが一家の大
Okay,
黒柱だ
looks
な。
like you're going to be the breadwinner for the family.
へへ
Saya giggles happily at my praise. I find these childish qualities of hers adorable.
今度はどのぐらいのんびりでき
I
る
wonder
か
how
な。
long we'll be able to relax this time.
Because of the casual way she says it, I almost miss the emptiness to which her question
ど
leads.
のぐらいかな。
Yeah. Saya's right. This won't last forever. No matter how safe this hideout might seem, we'll have to abandon it eventually. The slightest mistake could put our life together in jeopardy, just like when I failed to silence Koji. Some dumb kids might decide that this old ruin is a good place to test their courage, or this land might be targeted for new development. In order to be together with Saya, I've chosen to live apart from society. We'll never find lasting peace in this world teeming with humans, not unless we somehow escape from it.
長い旅だと思えばいいさ。
Think of it like going on a journey, just the two of us. I pull Saya into my arm, my hands around her slender shoulders, and whisper,
どうせ人生なんて旅みたいなものなんだ。
Life is like a
永遠に
journey
変わらない
anyway.
場所なんてない。
Nothing stays the same forever.
時の流れを見送るか。
The only difference is whether time passes you by or sweeps you up in its flow.
そうだよね。
I guess you're right.
Saya smiles softly. Perhaps resignation, perhaps in sadness. Either way, there's peace and contentment in her expression.
それでも一人
We'll,
ぼっち
we'll
じ
be
ゃないし
together, so I'm not lonely.
だからさやは
You're not lonely
寂
either,
しくなんかないよ。
are you?
あ
No. I have no regrets. As long as I can hold Saya in my arm, I will gladly pay any price.
それにね、
And besides,
She adds brightly, trying to cheer me
い
up.
つかは
one day,
私たち
you
が
won't
人
have to
目を
hide
忍んで
anymore.
暮らさなくてもよくなる
I
日
can
が
promise you
きっ
that.
と来るよ。それは約束してあげるから。
It sounds like a fairy tale, but for some reason... Oh, wait, sorry.
It sounds like a fairy tale, but for some reason, she seems absolutely certain.
それは 明日かも
That
しれな
day
い
might
し
be
ず
tomorrow,
っとずっと先のこと
or
か
it
も
might
し
be
れな
far
い
off in the future.
いつ印が来
It's
るの
my
か
first time,
私
so
にも
even
わ
I
から
don't
ない
know
の
when the sign will come.
初めてのことだからほんのちょっぴ
I'm a
り
little scared.
怖いんだけどね
I have no idea what Saya's prophetic words mean, but this isn't the first time she's said or done something mysterious. She's performed any number of miracles,
僕らにも希望があるのかい？
so there's hope for us too,
Yeah,
she says with a cheerful nod.
きっとそれがさやが
it'll be
文
my
則に
last
送ってあげ
present
ら
to
れ
you,
る最
Fuminori.
後のプレゼント
My first and final
さや
duty.
の最初で最後の務め
Koji has nothing to do but wait. He has spent almost half a day in the dark, empty study, breathing stale air choked with mold. As he strains his ears for the slightest hint of movement below, few people could endure such a vigil, but Koji is accomplished without complaint. If anything, the suffering is welcome, for it keeps his nerves honed to a razor's edge. Without a doubt, his single-minded focus is the only thing allowing him to push the limits of his stamina. Koji understands this and embraces the pain. His closest friend has shattered his world like glass, and now Koji feels only hate towards the madness that has replaced it, and towards himself for allowing it to happen. Self-loathing is a more reliable source of willpower than any faith or no matter how. When he arrived at the Ogai house, Koji snuck inside carefully, hoping to perhaps take his enemy by surprise. It was only after he got inside that he realized the house was still abandoned. Even so, Koji was unsure that Fuminori would arrive earlier than promised in order to set up an ambush.
Sure.
However, the light streaming through the window turned red, then faded to darkness with no sign of anyone coming. Koji's patience has grown weaker and weaker by the moment. And now the appointed time has arrived. Just as Koji's frustration is about to peak, his phone begins to vibrate and flash. It's from Fuminori. He's calling rather than showing up himself. Rage threatens to overwhelm him for an instant, but Koji manages to keep his voice calm as he answers.
どういうつもりだ、文則。
What's going on here, Fuminori? Well, I was worried that you would be wasting energy on something silly like planning an ambush. Fuminori says, chuckling scorn. Kind of late, but I guess I should tell you the real meeting place before you lose your mind. I should tell you the real meeting place before you lose your mind. Did I make it in time?
ふざけた真似を。
Son of a bitch. Come on, don't get mad. I'm just being careful, right? Fuminori laughs with unrestrained malevolence, as though to emphasize that he's seen through Koji's plan. Assuming you're at Dr. Ogai's house, there's a place nearby within walking distance. Yo and I are there. I'll give you the address. You should be able to find it on your GPS.
今度こそ信用できるっていう保証は。
You have proof that this isn't another trick? If you're that paranoid, why don't you just... I don't know, you don't have to come. Just turn tail and run. Fuminori hangs up immediately after speaking his challenge. Koji leaps out of the chair and kicks it across the room, unable to find any other outlet for his rage. He has no choice but to do what Fuminori says.
Mm-hmm.
His stamina is already exhausted. Only his obsession is keeping him. If he allows himself even a moment's rest, he fears that he'll never be able to find the strength to face this madness. Tonight is his only chance to kill Fuminori. Koji knows, of course, that his enemy is planning to ambush him. Fuminori isn't going to fight fair. Neither is Koji. With the unsteady stride of a man asleep, Koji leaves the Ogai house and heads for his car.
Oh, man.
Only at the base of these foothills. Only the base of these foothills developed for housing. The address Fuminori gave Koji is outside of that area, the thick forest that still covers the mountain's face. His car's GPS shows a road that leads nowhere, but according to Fuminori, there should be an old abandoned sanatorium here. Deja vu. It's definitely a place that no one could find, not even by accident. Maybe this next stop will really be the last.
Mm-hmm.
Koji drives up the steep incline, soon leaving the residential neighborhood behind. Even though the hands of progress are right at its doorstep, the underdeveloped forest is darker than he expected. This looks like a great place to live in secret. Kill someone and hide the body. Places like this, lost and forgotten, aren't only found in deep jungles and valleys. Holes in the world are everywhere, even in the midst of civilization. Broken down gatepost suddenly appears in Koji's headlights, like a ghost rising from. Sorry, I didn't mean to bump the mic.
Oh, there you
It looks like this, and looks like this is his final stop. He rolls up to the gate and turns off the engine, giving himself to the silence of the forest. His phone starts ringing almost immediately. He doesn't need to check who it's from.
着いたぞ。
I'm here.
聞こえてた。
Yeah, I heard you.
ようこそ
Welcome to my new home. Fuminori is nearby, close enough to hear the sound of the engine. A shiver of excitement shoots up Koji's spine.
中に入ってこいよ。
Come inside. Yo's waiting. Fuminori hangs up without another word. After grabbing his new flashlight from the glove compartment and checking that the revolver was still in his pocket, Koji opens the door and gets out of the car. Mountains of trash litter the front, forming a serviceable barricade. Koji sees everything from small refrigerators and mopeds to huge chunks of concrete and plaster that must have been abandoned by the construction workers. The fact that they could get away with leaving all of this stuff behind just shows how remote this place is. The moon is brighter than usual, allowing Koji to walk through the front yard, tripping debris. Staying alert, he heads for the building beyond the mountains of trash. Something must be buried underneath these piles of garbage, because the whole yard is filled with the sharp stink of chemicals. Even the homeless probably wouldn't come to this place. If you need to get out of the wind and rain, there are plenty of shelters more suitable. How many times has he stood like this, alone in some ominously silent place far removed from his everyday life? Sneaking into deathly quiet houses to find traces of unimaginable happenings has become normal as going to class. The houses that he explored before were like freshly shed cicada shells, empty and dilapidated, but with traces of life that they had sheltered. This place, however, is different. Perfect ruin, its walls and pillars rising from the dark forest like an army of ghosts with no sign at all that people lived in here. The structure resembles a skeleton more than a shell. Time and elements have stripped it from its former shape, and now it is only death. Koji has gone as far as he can. This must be the final stop. What will Fuminori's next move be? He must be planning to kill Koji, but how? Just as he's about to turn on his flashlight, Koji reconsiders. He wanders around with the light on. He'll be broadcasting his exact location. That will give the advantage to Fuminori, who's probably lying in wait for him now. He holds the light before him in his left hand, his finger poised on the switch. In his right hand, he raises the remote, keeping it pointed in the same direction. Now ready to fire when he turns on the light, Koji steps quietly into the dark ruin. It takes a while for his eyes to adjust, but even when they do, He has only moonlight streaming through the empty windows to guide him. Everything appears gray and distinct. However, Fuminori has to deal with the same conditions if he's hiding here. This is a battle of nerves, exhausting and deadly. Though where the first to make a sound will give away the position of the rooms. The rooms on both sides of the hallways are open. Even some are missing their doors. Koji creeps up to each entrance, checks to make sure no one's inside, and then carefully proceeds on. The stink that he noticed in the garden has changed. Now it smells more organic, like rotting meat. It's the exact same smell that filled Fuminori's house.
Interesting.
Squish. Koji freezes and stares down the hall. It was a wet sound that he just heard, like someone dragging their feet through the swamp, and it came from the room at the end of the... Something's there. Something's alive. Koji creeps towards the sound, his light and gun ready. Squish. Squish. Now it sounds like someone's squeezing mud through their fingers as he gets closer. Koji begins to hear breathing. Could it be Fuminori? No, that's impossible. Sorry. He should be waiting for a chance to ambush Koji, making this noise. As he proceeds, the strange sound comes through the cracks in the concrete walls. The strange sound coming through the cracks in the concrete walls grows clear. Oh. Sorry, my bad. Before he knows it, he's standing on the threshold. The room is filled with a thick, viscous darkness, just like every other room that he's passed. There's more than just darkness, however. Something is there. Oh boy. You can hear pained breathing, like that of a wounded animal. What sounds like sobbing? Sobbing? Who's there? Koji whispers into the darkness. Now that he's given away his position, he might as well turn on his light. For some reason, however, Koji feels that doing so would have disastrous consequences. The last time I heard her voice on the phone, she was sobbing. Wheezing suddenly stops. And then...
Koji?
a whisper comes out of the darkness. Though not a human voice, not by any measure. It speaks some blasphemous and human words. Nightmarish flash of insight connects the dots in Yo's mind.
Koji.
Sorry, Koji's mind. Tsukuba? It can't be. Yo doesn't sound like this. She doesn't smell like this.
Koji, kill me.
It's not Yo. But if it's not Yo, then how does it know his name? Why is it begging him for help? No, it can't be Yo. She's human, not some creature that slithers and hides in the shadows.
It hurts. Voice hurts. Save me, Koji.
The thing wriggles closer. His reason cries out, imploring him to switch the light on before it's too late, or to turn and run if he cannot. But Koji is unable to make either choice. He can only call out in vain to the amorphous shape in the dark. Is it you, Tsukuba? Is it really you?
No. Killed me.
Something soft and slimy slides over Koji's toes. Instinct overrides his, forcing him to turn his light and shine it at his feet.
Oh boy.
White beam reveals everything. The merciless truth that finally shatters Koji's sanity. Terror wipes his mind of all but two words, gun and trigger. His finger responds with instant obedience. There's an explosion of light and sound, both more intense than he anticipated, and then the destructive forces are swallowed up by the darkness. His ears are still ringing from the bang, but he hears a weak voice coming from the shadows.
It hurts.
Koji screams and pulls the trigger again and again, certain that salvation can only come from the barrel of the gun. Light and darkness, explosion and silence. They dance before him 3 more times. Koji doesn't even need to aim. Horrible creatures right at his feet, far too close to miss. Ryoko warned him about how many bullets were left in the gun. That information has already been driven from his mind. Even after the cold, heavy gloom wraps itself around him once more, Koji keeps pulling the trigger like a man possessed, paying no heed to the clicking of the empty weapon. His panic-stricken legs suddenly give out, sending him down hard on his backside. Even then, he keeps firing the empty gun. He knows no other way to erase the memory of the thing that he glimpsed in the beam of his flashlight. The light which fell from his hand during the attack is now pointing in a different direction. And though all 4 bullets must have hit their target, they were Koji's last card to play. Which leaves him alone in the darkness with no way to defend himself. And just as he realizes this, a massive rolling flesh rolls over him like a tidal wave.
There you go.
Dang. He can no longer even scream as the thing pushes him onto his back. With fear seizing his throat in an iron grip, Koji struggles desperately against the monster as it crawls up its body towards his face. Covering his face with his left hand, he scrambles wildly along with his right, searching for a way out that doesn't exist. His mind is that of a feral animal, empty of everything but primal terror. And that is why when his right hand closes around something hard at the last moment, he recognizes it instinctively as a weapon. Putting every ounce of strength into his arm, Koji swings the heavy object at the creature on top of him. He hears the thud of a blunt object striking something soft and wet, then Koji's attacker. He really should have, though. As soon as he is able to move again, Koji leaps to his feet, grabs his new weapon in both hands, brandishing it like a charm to ward off evil. Only now does he realize that he's holding a rusty steel pipe. The monster is still sobbing. With a cry that is part scream, part Koji raises the steel pipe and brings it crashing down into the cowering creature. He hears a wet sound and then feels the blood-chilling sensation of its thick, soft flesh absorbing the blow. These combine to invoke an instinctive loathing that wipes his mind of all but the urge to destroy. Die! Die! Consumed by the same desperation which he kept firing the empty gun, Koji rains blow after blow onto his enemy. After the 10th blow, it stops sobbing. After the 20th blow, it stops moving. And after the 30th blow, it begins to feel and sound more like he's beating a puddle of viscous. Koji doesn't stop thrashing the creature until he realizes enough to realize that whatever it might have been before, it's now nothing more than a corpse. Pipe in his hand, covered with unidentifiable fluids, and suddenly feels unbearably heavy. 20 years of memories in the light of the sun. If they were indeed precious to him, then he should never have taken this place.
Mhm.
Black flames of despair rise within him, consuming fear and revulsion and pity. The only rage and hate remain. Every cell in his body cries out for vengeance. The blood of the man who poisoned him with truth and then Koji, slave to hate, hears the sound of someone sneaking up behind him. Koji whirls, swinging his pipe with all the force he can muster. His enemy hastily leaps back to avoid the strike, surprised by his failure to catch Koji off guard. Twisted shadows dance in the beam of light. Readying his pipe for his next blow, Koji faces off against his second attacker. There you go. For this moment, Koji could never have imagined that he would ever speak his friend's name with such hatred.
おいおい。今の一振り、まるっきり手加減抜きかよ。
Hey, that was a pretty heavy swing just now. You trying to kill me or something? Even now, Fuminori is smiling as though the huge axe in his hand was just a sick joke.
参ったな。正直なとこ。
Damn, Koji, I thought you'd
もう少し
hesitate.
迷うもんだと思ってたんだけど。
迷うだと
You thought I'd hesitate against you?
貴様に
Koji sneers, unable to contain his contempt for the notion.
貴様
But how did you kill Omi, you piece of shit?
つくばに一体何をした
What did you do to Tsukuba?
それを考えてもまだ俺が
After all of this, you expect me to think twice about killing you?
そいつは言いがかりのつけ方が
That's
逆だろう
my line, Koji. Minori growls, looking sadly at the pile of dead flesh at Koji's feet.
工事の分際で僕の世をひどい目に遭わせやがって。
How could you do such a horrible
世
thing
の
to
10
Yo?
倍は痛めつけてから
I'll make sure you suffer before I kill you.
Well,
The blade of Fuminori's axe carves its arc through the darkness, glittering menacingly in the faint light from the... Koji raises his pipe to block the ferocious swing. The heavy impact numbs his arms, but his large frame takes the blow without giving any ground. Fuminori presses the attack, delivering a second blow and a third. His axe, designed for chopping down trees, is deadlier and more durable than the piece of pipe Koji found discarded on. Each strike Koji blocks sends chunks of rust flying from his makeshift weapon. He can't win as long as he is on the defensive. He needs to create an opportunity to attack. Bastard. Koji blocks a crushing downward swing and pushes back hard. Fuminori can play, throwing him off balance. Fuminori stumbles backward, plants his feet to steady himself. Taking advantage of his opponent's temporary immobility, Koji delivers a punishing low kick to Fuminori's outer thigh.
Gah.
Fuminori grunts and retreats, swinging his axe wildly to prevent Koji from following up with another attack. Koji, however, does not press his advantage. He stands where calmly spearing Fuminori with a stare.
お前喧嘩に慣れてねえな
You've never been in a fight, have you? Fuminori roars and comes in for another attack, but the damage to his right leg seems to be slowing the swing.
Music.
Right? Easily blocking the axe with the pipe. Koji waits for Fuminori to die! Fuminori delivers blow after heavy blow, howling savagely all the while. What he does not realize, however, is that the situation now favors composure, not brute force. When Fuminori raises his axe for yet another attack, Koji sees that his movements have grown dull enough. Seizing the opportunity, Koji charges into Fuminori's range and grabs the haft of the axe with his left hand.
Nope.
As Fuminori recalls in fear, Koji swings his pipe hard at his enemy's unprotected side. He feels the crunch of ribs breaking. The pain drives Fuminori to his knees. Staring down at Fuminori's defenseless head, Koji, surprised by his own lack of motion, raises his pipe high enough to deliver the final blow. Which is when something wraps itself around the left ankle. What? The instant Koji panics at the unexpected sensation, something soft yet strong winds itself around his right leg and drags him to where he can resist. He twists his body and tries to swing the pipe at the unseen enemy behind him, but his right hand too is seized by the same flexible force. He wasn't able to feel it through his pants, but now blood turns to ice as the slimy sensation of the thing wrapped around his uncovered wrist. The monster is still alive? That's it, Saya, Fuminori says encouragingly. Even while kneeling on the floor, his face twisted in pain, he manages a terrible, victorious grin. Saya. This monster is Saya? Koji struggles desperately to free his lens from the creature's slimy grip. But more tentacles swarm all over his body, stealing his freedom of movement. Horror has already driven Koji half mad. Just imagining the creature's appearance is enough to send him into a mindless panic. His screams are suddenly cut off. His slimy appendage seizes. This most deadly tentacle isn't cutting off his windpipe. It's trying to snap his neck, and it's getting tighter. Well, rip Koji. My mind hazy from pain, I watch as Saya feasts upon her slain prey. We've won. It was hard, and I wasn't able to do it alone, but together we have defeated our enemy. The price was steep. At least 2 of my ribs are broken, sending sharp pain shooting through my chest every time I breathe. And then there's Yo. I didn't expect her to fall to Koji so easily. I suppose that, unlike Saya, she might have been unfamiliar with how to use her new body in combat.
Yeah, it didn't end with Koji.
Surprise, surprise. My injury must have fueled Saya's anger. Her slaughter of Koji was merciless and complete. As soon as her prey stopped moving, she sank her teeth into his vital organs and ruthlessly extinguished the last embers of life.
Damn.
Through her brutal, grisly actions, or unbecoming of her hellish appearance, Saya's face covered in blood and gore was that of a victorious queen of beasts lording over her defeated foe. There was something noble and sacred about her primal ferocity that made me reluctant to disturb. I don't know how long you've been sitting here watching Saya feast. I don't know how long I've been sitting here watching Saya feast. I've nearly fainted from the pain several times. To be honest, I'm not used to violence. Wounds I suffered in the car accident were worse. These broken ribs are the most severe injury I've had that's ever been deliberately inflicted upon me. You'd think that Saya could show a little more concern for my condition. Koji's already dead, as can be, so there's no reason for her to be so greedy. I suddenly realize that Saya has stopped eating. She's now lying on her back, rolling from side to side. Has she eaten too much? It's been several days since we had fresh unfrozen meat. So I understand where her enthusiasm is coming from, but still, I'm wounded here. She could give me a hand. Because I'm preoccupied with my own selfish wants, I'm slow to realize that something's wrong. Saya isn't resting. She's trembling in agony. My blood goes cold, and the pain from my broken ribs is suddenly forgotten.
Saya!
Saya! I jump up and run to her side, cradle her fallen body in my arms. Her face is pale and drenched in sweat, and her half-closed eyelids and lips are shivering like she's had a fever. What's going on? Was she wounded in the fight? Could the meat she just ate have been poisoned somehow? I don't understand. All I know is something terrible is happening.
Aw.
Saya! Saya! The only thing I can do is call her name with all my strength. Saya slowly opens her eyes and gazes vacantly into my face.
みのり
Sorry,
ごめん
Fuminori. I'm
大丈夫
fine.
大丈夫だ
Really.
よただちょっと
It just hurts
痛いだけ
a little.
何なんだ
What's wrong?
どうしたん
What
だ
is it?
サヤ
Come on,
しろ
Saya. There's no way she's fine. It's glaringly obvious that her condition is dire. Even so, I'm the only one who's panicking. Saya's expression is serene, as though she understands everything that's happening. She even smiles softly upon
びっ
up
くりしちゃっ
that
たまさか
I
本
can't
当に
believe it. I never thought it would come so soon.
来るなんて
I might lose Saya. The thought is terror and despair flew over me. A feeling of utter hopelessness that I cannot resist.
怖がらないで
Don't be afraid.
いるな
Remember what I said? This is
それが
the sign.
みのりと
This
私
is
の
our
たった一つの
only hope.
希望
どういうことだよ
What are you
わけわか
talking
んないよ
about?
サ
I
ヤ
don't understand.
しっかりして
Stay
くれ
with me,
よ
Saya. Damn Kombini.
Food.
Saya answers my tearful entreaty with a smile like that of a mother, a child.
さやはね
I did it.
頑張るって
I
決
decided
めたの
to do my best.
だって
After
み
all,
のりは
you said you
さやのこと
loved me.
が綺麗だ
You said that I was
そう言って
pretty.
くれたから
やめようよサヤ
Stop this. Whatever is happening, I can't just sit by and watch it, as it causes Saya such agony.
もういい無茶しないでくれ
Please,
何をして
whatever you're trying to
知らない
do, I don't want to
サ
see
ヤ
you
が
suffer.
苦しむ姿なんて見たくない
ひどいな
Don't be like that.
みのり
Saya chides me.
分かってよ
Please, understand.
In a soft voice, she reveals her secret.
生まれるんだよ
They're gonna be born.
さやと
Our children.
Bro, what?
俺たちが
For a moment, my mind goes completely blank.
そんないつ
What?
の間に
When did you?
私もね
I'm surprised too.
クリね
Fuminori?
えふみのり
Saya's labored breathing speaks of the terrible pain in her tiny body suffering. Even so, she wraps her arms tightly around my neck.
外に
Take me
連
outside
れてって
to an open
広い
place
ところ
under the sky.
空の下に
I nod. What else can I do? If I speak, I'm afraid that I'll be unable to hold back my tears. I mustn't cry. Not when Saya is facing her so bravely. It feels like Saya is burning up in my mind, and I feel that the terrible convulsions that shoot through at intervals will tear her frail body to pieces. Praying for her safety, I scoop Saya up and carry her swiftly out the building. Maybe the cold night air will soothe her fever, but that hope is futile, fully dashed as her breathing grows shallow and moans through the bluish lit
さやそうだ
outside. We're outside. In response to my call, she opens her eyes once more. Her gaze is cloudy and unfocused. She can no longer see. Nevertheless, Saya looks at me. I can tell that she's imagining my expression or my face should be.
約束した
Just as I promised.
これが
This is
さ 最後の
My final
プレゼン
present.
ト
Present.
I know.
喜んで
I hope
くれるといいな。
you'll like it.
嬉しいよ。もちろん。
Of course I will. It takes every ounce of my willpower, but I managed to make my voice light and cheerful. In Saya's mind's eye, I'm smiling. She won't have to see my face streaked with tears.
みのり
Mori,
私を愛してくれた
to you
あなたに
who love me,
この星を
I give
あげます。
this planet.
Saya's whispers weak, pained. There is ecstasy in her voice, ecstasy and joy. Her back suddenly shifts, then bulges
こ
outward.
の世界は
This world
きっと
will be
綺麗
beautiful.
な場所に
She whispers in exultation.
さや
A world
とみのりの
just for us.
だけの世界に
And then Saya bloomed. How else can I describe it? Flower petals, long and wide, spread from her back like wings of a newly formed butterfly. Their bright glow comes from the countless tiny scales that cover each petal like light.
さよならなのか。
Is this goodbye? I ask her, careful to keep the sorrow out of my voice.
ううん
No,
違う
not goodbye.
これは
This is the
始
beginning.
まり
Saya's pain must have already left, for her expression is intensely peaceful and content.
私と
Beginning
ふみのりの
of our world.
世界の
うん
始まり
The radiant motes rise on the wind, painting rivers of light in the sky. It's beautiful, overwhelmingly painfully beautiful. Victoriously of their freedom, the shining seeds of life are released in vast fertile land. Their songs herald the coming of a new world and the destruction of the old. It's a boundless healing. It's an eternal blessing. We shall fill the world with joy.
これからはずっと一緒だね。
And we'll be together forever. Embracing Saya's pitifully shrunken body, I gaze into the shining sky and let my tears flow freely. Thank you. Thank you for this final gift, Saya.
She was worried at first how long the preserved foods in the underground storeroom would last her, but now it seems that her fears were unfounded. It's the liquor she should have worried about. By savoring each drop of spiritus as though it was her last, she thought she could make her flask hold out a little longer, but she must have been consuming more each day than she realized. Who can blame her? There's no way that she could have gotten through this without the intoxicating effects of distilled alcohol. After Ryoko chased useless emotions like hope and despair from her mind, she found herself spending the most peaceful days of her life. As resignation set in, even hate and fear left her. Now she feels only awe for what Ogai Masahiko did and respect for the death of his intellectual curiosity. After all, neither she nor this world had any reason left to deny his research. Alone in the mountain cabin, Ryoko killed time by bringing order to the documents that Ogai had left behind. He took the scattered and ciphered papers and wrote them in a more readable fashion, eliminating redundancies and added indexes and tables of contents. Ryoko did not intend for anyone to read them, of course. She knew full well how meaningless her actions were. With her reason to live gone, however, having nothing to devote her mind to was at least some relief. And now, as the last congratulatory drops of spiritus vodka burn their way down Ryoko's throat, all of Ogai's research lies before in a single volume. She had finally finished transcribing and annotating the last of his writings. Enjoying the satisfaction of a pointless job well done, she idly pages through the manuscript she just completed. I shall conclude my summarizing my theory as it currently stands. The life form that I named Saya did not appear in our universe by chance, nor even a result of my summoning, but because of the instincts that were programmed directly into her biology. She was created to fulfill the same ultimate purpose that all life shares: reproduction. Saya and her kind procreate by spreading their seeds to other dimensions. What is the probability they will discover a doorway to another world? Even if they succeed in doing so, the chance of that world being suitable for reproduction must be even more minute. In order to make the most of the scant probability, evolution has created them a certain advantage, none other than the astonishing ability that I have witnessed in Saya. To wit, they select the most prosperous life form that can encounter, take control of it, and doing so, gain dominance over that planet's biosphere. In other words, they hijack the entire species. Ah, yeah, you got gifted a sub. Welcome, welcome. They do this by analyzing their target's genome, then overriding its genetic code to remake it into their own image. Saya's biology is more than capable of inducing such dramatic and widespread mutation. There's significant probability that the target species will have evolved into intelligent life. This element may be necessary to gaining control of a planet's environment. Therefore, Saya and her sisters also plunder their target's culture and psychology. Her extraordinary learning ability and intellectual curiosity are likely instinctive tools that enable her to inherit the target species' entire wealth of knowledge.
You're quite welcome.
Yeah, I'll be getting more emotes later. They're currently being commissioned. I'm just waiting. That's just what I have for now. In fact, it may be that Saya's kind has always had its sights set on intelligent life. Perhaps they wait patiently for some foolish extra-dimensional species to gain knowledge of other worlds, and in attempting to satisfy its curiosity, make contact with the outer universe in which they dwell, rather than send Saya and her kin on their dimensional journeys with only luck and their own strength to depend on. Would not waiting for such contact greatly increase the chance of finding a world worthy of conquest? Just as I, having acquired the silver key, fancied myself an explorer of the unknown, how many intelligent life forms on other worlds have thoughtlessly congratulated themselves for discovering Saya's sisters? Taken by a sudden urge to go outside for a change, Ryoko gathers up the manuscript and heads to her car, which is parked in the front yard. She has completed her self-imposed final duty. There is no longer any reason for her to remain holed up in the mountain cabin. She drives a little farther up the mountain to an open space that offers a scenic view of the land below. In the early days of the change, Ryoko often came to the spot to watch helplessly over the mutating city. The one flaw in my theory comes from none other than Saya herself. After using me to learn everything she could about humanity, Saya should probably have been prepared to begin the last stage of invasion. However, she never carried out her mission. Why? I hypothesized that Saya was an irregular among her kind. It is said that the human race's intelligence has allowed us to conquer our natural instincts, perhaps in absorbing the human psyche. Saya accidentally inherited the disease that infects our entire species. What is human love, really? What behavior could be more of a hindrance to the efficient propagation of a species? I am reminded of how, at the end of her studies, Saya consumed vast quantities of romantic literature from all over the world. She tries to understand romance as an integral part of the human reproductive process. As a result, she might have unwittingly neutered her own unparalleled reproductive abilities. After all, she had not known love. She had come to this world to rule in our place, and had studied humanity to fulfill that purpose, but ultimately she could not share love with a human. Without love's blessings, I wasn't able to find the passion to fill this world with her kind. And learning all that there was to know about humanity, she herself had become hopelessly human. Weary of loneliness, she despaired of the world. How pure her maiden soul must have been. If this hypothesis is correct, then it means that I have failed as her teacher. I cannot help but feel ashamed for having spoiled such an extraordinary organism. Blech. Saya? Next to Ogai Masahiko, Ryoko now knows more about that entity than anyone else. No, when the young man named Saikasaka Fuminori is added to the running, perhaps she only comes in third. In the end, she never encountered the creature face to face. She would like to have met it once, though. If Ogai's analysis of Saya's psychology is correct, then it must have been Saikasaka who restored her desire to conquer the world. Perhaps as Saikasaka's chief physician, Ryoko played some role in bringing that lonely young man and Saya together. In which case, she should have at least had the right to attend their wedding, to end all weddings. She might even have charged them in a matchmaker's fee. I have a dream that one day my daughter will know the blessings of love. I pray that there will become a day when her heart burns with the flames of passion, and our world becomes bright and joyous once more. When that day comes, Saya, your terrible, irresistible purpose will surely consume us. Your progeny may flourish. The whole world will know your love and be reborn. Ah, what wonders the future holds. I deeply regret that I must end my life before I can see that day come, but the footsteps of those who would destroy my dream grow closer by the hour. If I seal my lips in death, then their grasping hands will not reach you. Please forgive me, my daughter, for leaving you alone in this barren world. The knowledge that you now possess, I know that you will find your own path. The radiance of your hard-won soul shall light the road ahead. Have no fear, have no doubt. March onward until you reach your answer at last. And I, Saya, will dream forever of the world that you will create. Perhaps it is isolated environment or the mountain air. Maybe she's just more resistant to change. Whatever the case, Ryoko has not yet become as human as the creatures wiggling through the city below. She does not know exactly how many people on this planet could still be called human, but she is one of what must be the only handful of survivors who are left to watch over the end of mankind. Of course, it's only a matter of time before she changes too. It has been 3 days since she chopped off her right hand, which had ceased to function as anything resembling a human hand, but the itching that has spread across her entire back is growing more intolerable by the hour. She could look in the mirror and see what she is becoming, but she doubts that would make her happy. Ryoko thinks that maybe it would be best to just go to sleep here, with the world spread out before her. When she awakens, perhaps, she'll be ready to ascend the mountain and join the city's revelry. Or maybe she won't even need such resolve anymore. Whatever the case, Ryoko thinks dreamily, as she licks the very last drop from her flask. Even after I stop being human, I hope I'll still enjoy the taste of booze. Luther? Ooh. And then with that, that's the end. Yay! That was a happy ending, right?
Sure. Oh, there he is, the real butcher himself.
Alright, so I don't think there's anything, so I'm gonna read for you what would happen if you did something else, okay? So for anyone who wants to play this themselves and want to be spoiled, blah blah blah, I gotta stop watching. Because I'm just gonna tell you the other things. Let's see. So if you accept to be back, this was way back in the beginning when you accepted Saya or not accepted Saya, like you wanted to go back to normal, right, and not see things anymore. So what would have happened is Fuminori is then, let's see, if Fuminori accepts, his agnosia disappears, but Saya leaves him, as she wishes for him to not see her true form. Understandable. Fuminori is then arrested and then confined in a mental hospital after contacting the police, where he and Saya briefly converse through a phone, pass through a door. Saya then leaves to look for her missing father, Ogai, while Fuminori swears to wait forever for her return, as he believes he is the only one who will comfort Saya with the kind words. Yeah, it would have just ended. Okay.
Okay.
It's not very good.
Yeah.
So the other ending. So if Koji made the smart choice, what would have happened, huh? So if Koji calls Ryoko, the two meet up and plan to confront Fuminori. During the fight, Koji kills Yo, but before he can be killed by Saya, Ryoko throws a liquid nitrogen on her and freezes her. And despite being mortally wounded by Fuminori, manages to shoot Saya and shatter the ice, fatally wounding her. Fuminori then commits suicide, with Saya dying along with him. Koji is left as the only survivor of the events of the story, unable to live as he did before, now that he knows the truth of the world, left haunted by nightmares and the thought that more beings like Saya exist out in the universe. Koji purchases a single bullet for his revolver in the hopes that when he's unable to carry on anymore, he can commit, and then find salvation in death. Yeah. So either way, Koji was it was not a good ending for Koji.
Yeah.
So I think this is a pretty good ending considering. Ew.
So the world got turned into...
Yeah. Saya's people.
Eh.
But, you know, she found love. Isn't that sweet? She couldn't figure
Yeah.
out how to, like, and then she found love.
Kind of fucked up, but...
Yeah.
Found something.
And you got to learn a lot more about her race there.
Yeah.
So, what did you think?
Good.
Did you like this more than You, Me, and Her?
I think You and Me and Her had a better,
Story is way longer. But yeah.
it was more interesting.
Mm-hmm.
This was good nonetheless.
Mm-hmm. This is quite old, actually. Let's see when it came out. Came out, to say on here. In Japan, it came out on December 26, 2003. North America didn't get it until 2013.
I guess that makes sense.
So it's a pretty old game, considering. We didn't get an English fan translation patch until 2009. And it came out in 2003. So, but that's, if you read enough visual novels, you learn this. Just some of them just don't have the English. I have an ad in like 2 minutes and through, but I think it should be finished by then. So is Saya that scary?
It wasn't scary.
So the plushie's fine?
Yeah.
Ah, there you go. If you want to play the actual with all the H scenes, very graphic. That's where you can buy. Right there. Go there and buy it. All right. Well, I think that's where I'm going to end this here. Thank you for everyone who watched in the beginning. I know this had a lot of issues. It had a lot of audio issues. It had just a lot of problems. This was kind of annoying to work. Steam version is not perfect, but I would have definitely not been able to play the actual one.
Oh yeah.
So I hope everyone enjoyed it, and see you next time, right?
Right?
All right.
Good night.
Good night. Bye.
Bye-bye.